should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all. I want to say hey to y'all real quick and make a quick announcement. Hey Zio, Sandra, and Jenny Jen, and Cara, and Trixie, and Sarah. I saw you in here. Rubber Ramada. Good to see you, bad girl. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And happy Monday to y'all. I wanted to tell y'all about the video I made yesterday. It was not because I didn't like the live. I enjoyed the live very much. So I didn't want anybody to think that. I enjoyed everything we talked about. I think it was a really good live. I've just been really bothered by some things I had seen out on the internet pertaining to those videos. So I wanted to talk about it without talking about the creators that put that information out. And I wanted to say what I saw about it. And that's why I did that video. It had been bothering me for a long time, several days. And so I did that just to get my feelings out. I felt better afterwards. And, I realized some things that I might not have been doing right as far as expecting not to have reactions. They caught a hitman in Pennsylvania. Let's see. Hold on just a minute. Let me see what I can pull up real quick. And we'll check that out. All right, let me share my screen. Thank you all again for being here. I really enjoy the time that we spend together every day. Zaya made me the bunny too, for anybody that was wondering. Okay. Let's see. Midtown assassin, person of interest. Let us see. Midtown assassin, person of interest, picked up in Pennsylvania for execution of healthcare executive Brian Thompson. I've heard about that, but I haven't talked about it much. There's a picture of him. It says investigators have released new images of the alleged assassin believed to have fatally shot United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown on Wednesday after cops spent Saturday continuing to search Central Park for the homicide weapon. Police in Pennsylvania have apprehended a person of interest in Midtown assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside a hotel last week. Sources close to the case confirmed to AM New York Metro Monday. The New York Post reported that the individual had been picked up in the western Pennsylvania city of Altoona early on December 9th after allegedly presenting a fake ID at a McDonald's restaurant. What? Law enforcement agents in the Keystone State also found in the person of interest possession a firearm as well as a silencer, several other phony identification cards, and a manifesto, the Post reported. New York Police Department officials are now en route to Pennsylvania to meet with the individual. The development comes after an intense 5-day manhunt for the suspected assassin who committed homicide on Thompson outside the Hilton Hotel on West 54th Street near 6th Avenue at 6:45 a.m. on December 4th. Let me see what y'all are saying real quick because I can't see. ABC is going live. He planned to commit the crime, but not how to get away with it. I posted a live of former or current police going over it in the live section of Discord. Okay, let me pull that up and we'll talk about it. I'll change my thumbnail too to add both. Hold on just a minute because I have to pull it from Discord and save it on my thingy. I have to make a playlist and save it. I posted, okay. on the live section of Discord. Live now. Okie dokie. I didn't even know that this was here. Zio's so amazing.
I really believe that he was going to take the gun with him since he traveled with it in a backpack.
Okay, that's police off the cuff. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't want to, like, number one, I don't want to stream snipe him. And number two, I don't want to get a copyright. Let me see. Y'all said it's on ABC News. Let me do it this way. Who said it was on ABC News? Supposed to be a presser soon about this, I believe. ABC is going live, said Bad Girl. So what is this? The Midtown Assassin. ABC going live about Midtown Assassin who killed healthcare CEO.
ABC going live about Midtown Assassin who killed healthcare CEO.
I found one from 3 minutes ago.
ABC News police in Pennsylvania.
And ABC is live, so let me save it and I'll pull it up. Healthcare CEO. Alrighty, let me get this pulled up so y'all can see it. And we'll look at it together. Together as a family. As a familial. I said that wrong. I was reading, I've got like 6 minutes left of the Stephen Stearns video that I am editing, and it said familial or custodial thing, so that's why I said familial. Okay, and this will allow me, when I click on it, to see ABC Live, so let us see. We'll watch this. And
ABC News police in Pennsylvania are questioning.
I will click on live. This is going to be ABC News. Man questioned in Pennsylvania in connection with the homicide of United Healthcare CEO.
Man in connection to the murder of United Healthcare CEO. This comes as ABC News has obtained new video showing Brian Thompson's killer waiting for him moments before the shooting. Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, is here with the latest. Aaron, what are you hearing about this man being questioned now in Pennsylvania?
The NYPD is sending detectives to Altoona, Pennsylvania now, Diane, hoping to get involved with this lead.
What are you guys' thoughts on this? Please let me know. Yeah, I'm curious of what his motive was too. I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but I do think it was a planned hit, considering that it was a hit of a United Healthcare CEO.
I'm told that the authorities have taken this person into custody. We don't have an ID on him, but they've taken him into custody for questioning in connection with the shooting death of Brian Thompson. One suspicion that the authorities appear to have, this person who's now in police custody in Pennsylvania has a gun that is similar to the weapon that was used to kill the United Healthcare CEO, according to law enforcement sources. So they are now questioning this person. The NYPD is on its way, hoping that this is going to be a significant break in the case, but we just don't know yet.
And could be especially significant given this wasn't just a regular handgun that you might expect to be used in a crime like this.
It was a
Really?
distinctive gun. It's bolt action, which means that, it has to be manually cycled.
He said it has to be manually cycled. Bad Girl said, wonder if it was a hired hit or if it was a personal homicide. I think it was hired. I do. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, and I'll try to keep that to a minimum, but I think it was hired. Yeah, Zaya made me the bunny. I can take it down, but I just think it's so cute. I love it. It is so cute to me. Yeah, he is sniffing out the bull crap. Oh, speaking of, I did make a new emoji for the members, and it's titled Admonished. So if we need to admonish someone, we can throw Basil up there looking down on us. He gets on my chest, and I take pictures of him from like underneath his mouth, and it's really cute. Kara said UHC has the highest denial rates of all health insurance companies. Oh, really? So maybe it was personal. I did not know that. Yeah, admonished When we need to admonish, we'll throw Basil up there giving us a judgment look.
Then the long barrel makes the police think that this is some type of veterinary weapon, perhaps used on farms or ranches, not what you might see in an assassination-style killing. So they've been...
Well, that makes me change my mind. Maybe it's more along the lines of what Cara said, with UHC will deny life-saving medications, procedures, and etc. And if I had to guess, that's the motivation. Considering that the weapon was a veterinary-style weapon, I now correct my statement and would say it was probably not a hired hit.
Been very focused on the gun. They have not found the murder weapon yet, I'm told. So if this is the case, this could either just be a guy has a similar gun, right, and that's it, or it could be something else.
And talk to me about this video that ABC obtained, because you say it shows this suspect, whoever he is, clearly waiting for Thompson.
And this is why police came out right away and said this was a targeted thing, because the video shows him loitering around the Hilton Hotel. Other people go by and he's unbothered. Only when Brian Thompson comes into his view do you see him scooting across 54th Street, approaching from behind and open.
Why in 2024 is video this grainy? Just curious.
Fire. So the authorities have asked for patience here, Diane. Even with a killer on the loose, they do not believe there is a danger to the public at large.
All right, Aaron Katursky, thank you.
All right, let me see what they're live about right now, and see if it's
December 4th, 2024, a day that shook corporate.
I don't really want to hear that. I don't want to go off the deep end right now either, but thank you. All right.
Tell ABC News police in Pennsylvania are questioning a man in connection to the murder of United Healthcare's CEO. This comes as ABC News has obtained new video.
Work with me here. Okay, so I think this might be the presser. All right, I'm going to pull that Cara. We're going to take questions on shooting first, and then I'm going to back it up so you can hear what they say. Okay, I don't need all that. All right.
Report.
Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. We are coming on the air because multiple...
I don't know why it's so low. I've got my volume turned all the way up. This is going to be the press conference that's live now, but we're about 10 minutes back, titled New York Mayor Adams Update on Person of Interest in United Healthcare CEO Shooting, a Special Report. I'm going to let us watch this. I'm going to, hey, Darlene, and thank you for the trigger warning, Jenny. I'm going to pull that stuff that Cara sent me about the denial rates, and I'm going to change the thumbnail real quick while we listen to this.
Multiple law enforcement officials say a person of interest is now being questioned in the New York City murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. They say he's identified as 26-year-old Luigi Mangione. Here's New York City Mayor Eric Adams with an update.
Thompson of United Healthcare was the victim of a senseless act of violence. Our officers have been working around the clock. Many of them did not go home to pursue this individual. It was crucial that we were able to remove him off the streets of America, and we were going to seek him out no matter where he was at the time. And so this is a strong person of interest.
Cara, thank you so much for sending me that, by the way. I have got it and I just emailed it to myself, so I will pull it up after we watch this. Darlene said, hey, speculating family, I'm so happy that our speculating family is here today. Cara said all other health insurance companies removed their pages with their corporate people. Oh, goodness. That's interesting. You know what, Darlene, again, I don't want to get conspiratorial, but I don't doubt you when you say Nancy Pelosi is involved in that United Healthcare homicide. He had dirt on her. I don't doubt that for a second. I find that easy to believe. Some other people might not. Abellis, and we're looking for our other family members. We're summoning all of y'all.
The police commissioner and chief of detectives will go over where we are right now in the investigation. He matches the description of the identification we've been looking for. He's also in possession of several items that we believe will connect him to this incident. How did we do it? Good old-fashioned police work. The chief of detectives and the police commissioner made the decision to release as much of a photo that we had at the time. We sent it across the country, and someone, a McDonald's employee, did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something. And they did. And because of that, we believe we have a strong person of interest to deal with this case. I want to now turn it over to the police commissioner of the city of New York, Commissioner Tisch.
Can I just take a second to congratulate that McDonald's employee for seeing something and saying something? That is amazing. That I really, I mean, you know, it always goes back to if you see something, say something. Something we should all do diligently. Cara said, and I'm putting that in quotes. Oh, I'm putting that in quotes because they're already putting him on shirts calling him a hero. Oh, goodness. I do not agree with what he did. He committed homicide. That is not how you go about creating change. It absolutely is not. Hey, Hello Kitty. Justice for all Americans. We do not condone vigilante violence. We absolutely do not. It's good to see you today, love.
Tisch.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male on firearms charges. At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan. The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police. Responding officers questioned the suspect, who was acting suspiciously and was carrying multiple fraudulent IDs as well as a U.S. passport. Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document.
Why are we calling it a hostel? We're not overseas. I've only heard it called a hostel overseas. Zio. Stop it. Cara said, so not exactly related, but I'm pretty sure this guy talking is involved in Diddy parties. You know, I've heard that too.
That speaks to both his motivation and mindset. NYPD detectives are en route to Pennsylvania as we seek to interview the subject further. This apprehension is thanks to the tireless work of the greatest detectives in the world, and of course, the strong relationships we have with our local law enforcement partners. On every level, local, state, and federal, we all serve the same public safety mission. And this case, which captured the attention of an entire nation, is another example of how connected we are and how important it is to work together, share information, and pursue every lead. For just over 5 days, our NYPD investigators combed through thousands of hours of video, followed up on hundreds of tips, and processed every bit of forensic evidence, DNA, fingerprints, IP addresses, and so much more to tighten the net. We deployed drones, canine units, and scuba divers. We leveraged the domain awareness system, Argus cameras, and conducted aviation canvasses. And our detectives also went door to door, interviewing potential witnesses and doing the good old-fashioned police work that our investigators are famous for. This combination of old school detective work and new age technology is what led to this result today. And we must also acknowledge the instrumental role the media and the public played in this case. The images that we shared with the public were spread far and wide, and the tips we received led to the recovery of crucial evidence. We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations. This is the third time in 3 weeks that a member of the public has seen something and said something and done something that led to a high-profile arrest. The triple stabbing homicide.
I'm really happy to hear that members of the public are saying something and helping to get these people captured. Please don't forget to give this video a like. Absolutely. Giving him a name is giving him fame. Yeah, there are no hostels in the U.S. that I know of. His name was leaked by media, which forced LE to announce it in the presser. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely a name.
In Manhattan, the gunpoint robberies in Queens, during which an NYPD officer was shot, and now this. Now, the case will continue through the criminal justice process. And while we are proud of today's accomplishment, we must, of course, remember that a family is in mourning. I want to again extend my sympathies to Brian's family, his co-workers, and all who knew him. Finally, I want to thank the women and men of the NYPD, especially our Detective Bureau personnel, with a strong assist from our intelligence analysts. We also thank the SAC of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division, Leslie Rodriguez-Bekshies. And I want to commend the staff of the Manhattan DA's office, and especially DA Alvin Bragg. He has been working with us 24/7 on this case, and I'm incredibly grateful for his partnership. I'll now pass it along to our great Chief of Detectives, Joe Kenny, who will provide additional information. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. As the Commissioner stated earlier, a male was taken into custody today in Altoona, Pennsylvania this morning. He has been identified as Luigi Nicholas Mangione. He's a male, 26 years old. He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York. Members of the NYPD Detective Bureau are currently traveling to Pennsylvania with members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to interview this subject. This case was brought to a successful conclusion based on the coordinated effort between numerous NYPD units, including the Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureau, our federal partners at the FBI, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and of course, members of the Altoona Police Department in Pennsylvania. On Thursday, one day after this crime was committed, the NYPD released a photo of the shooter in this case. This picture was obtained by the NYPD during one of their extensive video canvasses. We took that photograph and we asked for the public's help in identifying this subject, and the public responded. Hundreds of tips began to pour into our hotline. Each tip was investigated thoroughly, and we began to release additional photographs as they came into our possession. The NYPD provided these photos to numerous media outlets. Local, national, and international outlets released the photo via television, print, social media, and online content. Luckily,
Trixie, my chat freezes over here on StreamYard. I don't know if it's StreamYard or what, but I'm trying to figure it out myself. Hello Kitty said he was on a Greyhound headed somewhere and it stopped for a rest break at the McDonald's. Still had the firearm, headed to another victim, maybe? It's possible. Anders, hey Anders, it's good to see you. Anders said, I say like Sarah Boone, I excel in everything I do. No doubt. It doesn't seem like he had a getaway plan. Yeah, it doesn't. Hey Abellis, good to see you. Yes, they caught him, which is great work. A McDonald's employee caught him.
in Pennsylvania recognized our subject and called local law enforcement. Members of the Altoona Police Department responded to the call, and based on their investigation, they notified the NYPD. This investigation is still active and ongoing. Thank you very much.
We're going to take questions on shooting first, and then we'll... Mark?
I had a couple of questions about the document that he was found in possession with. Can you go a little bit more in depth about those motivations that you mentioned? Was that CEO specifically named in that document? Was there anything more about him wanting to go after others? And also in that document, was there any indication that explains us how the level of detail that he went into killing him? Like, is there anything?
Like I said, that document is currently in the possession of the Altoona Police Department as part of their investigation. But just from briefly speaking with them, we don't think that there's any specific threats to other people mentioned in that document, but it does seem that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
Over here, sir.
Okay, so this makes me think that it could be personal instead of like a planned assassination. Says your chat is toggled all messages instead of top messages. Yeah, I can't even access this live. Like I have to comment from my computer. Like if I want to pin a comment or something, it won't let me. I don't know why. Like it won't show me on my phone that I'm live right now. I don't even know how y'all know I'm live. It won't tell me that I'm live. Yep.
Chief, was the suspect wearing a mask at the time he was spotted in the McDonald's? And also, criminal cases often have a linchpin. Can you point to a single linchpin that helped crack this case?
There's numerous linchpins in this case, in the fact that we've recovered an enormous amount of forensic evidence, an enormous amount of video, and once again, with your help and the public's help. So I really couldn't put it on one thing, but if I had to, it would be the release of that photograph from the media.
Anders, yes, it is. This was the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. They caught the gunman.
Well, you said he had a passport on him. Do you believe he was trying to flee the country? And also, are you still looking for any evidence in Central Park in regards to the bike?
We had divers in the water yesterday that came up negative results. The passport, we don't believe that he was planning on doing any traveling at this time. We don't think at this point in our investigation, we don't think he was trying to flee the country.
The person at McDonald's, were they buying food? What were they doing at that exact moment?
He was an employee at the McDonald's.
Right. But what was the suspect doing?
He was sitting there eating.
Will the suspect be brought back to New York and charged here, and when?
We're going to have to work that out with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in Altoona, Pennsylvania. He's going to be facing gun charges there. And at some point, we'll work out through extradition to bring him back to New York to face charges here, working with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
Hi, Anita from the New York Post. I was just hoping to get more details on the capture itself. Did he put up a fight? Did he say?
This is the one who did it, Anders. They caught him, and this is a press conference that they're doing on it. I'm back a little bit. It's currently live right now, but I'm a few minutes back.
Anything to cops, and
Ooh.
we've also reported that he published online anti-health care industry rantings. Can you share with us some of the services that he posted on?
We're still working through.
I didn't know there was a $60,000 reward. I hope that McDonald's employee did get that. That's amazing.
Social media, we're going to do a complete scrub of that. Preliminarily, like I said, he seems that he has some ill will toward corporate America, but that will all come out as part of our investigation. We're not done here. We're still going to be putting this together. We're still going to be working very hard to bring this to a successful conclusion.
The capture itself, did he put up a fight? Did he say anything to police?
I don't have that information.
Oh, sorry. Can you elaborate on how he got there? The path he took from Port Authority and on the George Washington Bridge to Altoona, PA.
Same thing. This just happened this morning. We'll be backtracking his steps from New York to Altoona, Pennsylvania.
I was going to ask if he knew anything, if he took a bus to Philadelphia first and then somehow got to Altoona. But
We're still working on that. We're still working through that.
Britain.
Is there any indication that anybody else was helping him from the inside, as far as tracking the CEO's movements?
Once again, we're still working this investigation very hard. It's not at its conclusion yet. That could come out during our investigation, but as of right now, we have no indication that took place.
Chief, did he have any weapons or anything like that with him when he was arrested?
Abella said, last meal in the free world at McDonald's. That's sad. Serves him right, idiot. Right? Hello Kitty said 10,000 from Crime Stoppers and 50,000 from the FBI. Oh, wow.
He was in possession of a ghost gun that had the capability of firing a 9mm round and a suppressor.
Joe?
Can you get into a little bit about the technical aspects of the investigation? I know you deployed an unprecedented amount of technology. You also activated the Sentry program through Intel. Can you talk about how that is going to play into actually building the case as far as cell phone and all of the other technical aspects of what you've done?
In this case, it really came down to technology was the use of drones in Central Park, and really comes down to the video canvas that we did. We used every source of video that we could collect, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours from hundreds of sources, and that helped bring this to where we are right now.
The gun is it believed to be the gun used in the shooting? And there was some talk that it was a veterinarian type gun. Is that accurate?
No, as of right now, the information we're getting from Altoona is that the gun appears to be a ghost gun, may have been made on a 3D printer. The capability of firing a 9mm round, obviously that will come out during our ballistics testing.
Oliver?
Yeah, Oliver.
That is interesting. He probably thought he was never going to get caught because he made the gun, the firearm on a 3D printer. And he made it capable of firing a 9mm round. That's really interesting to me. Definitely tells me it was personal. Cara said, I have major grievances with my insurance company, but I would never think of committing homicide on mine, right? Hey, Toxic. Strange assassin, why that target? I don't know. I did see a post. Well, I don't want to put it out because it could be somebody completely innocent. My insurance company sent me a pre-approval letter to get my new muscular sclerosis medication, only to deny it 3 times. And now the fees are up to $79,000. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Abella said it was thought that he did it out of anger towards healthcare insurance. I believe it. It's possible.
From the Financial Times. Do you have any indication like how long this handwritten, is it a handwritten manifesto that you found on the suspect? And then also whether or not he put it online at all?
Don't know if it's online. As of right now, it's a handwritten 3-page document.
Chief, does he have ties to that area, and was he someone who you knew by name before his arrest?
We believe he may have attended college in Pennsylvania, but like I said earlier, he has ties to Maryland and California and Hawaii.
You knew him by name before today. Was his name on your radar?
I want to know what the manifesto says.
Excuse me?
Was his name on your radar? Was he someone who you had been looking into before his arrest?
No, he did not have his name prior to today.
Bad Girl said, doesn't New York have the death penalty? I'm not sure. Toxic said Brian was under investigation for inside trading. That's the one that he committed homicide on. This is Luigi. Brian is the man that's now deceased. And Toxic is saying he was under investigation for inside trading. That's interesting. Hello Kitty said, so many cameras everywhere. How can anyone think they can commit a crime and get away with it nowadays? Can't even scan something incorrectly at Target without getting caught, right? And then Abella said, I read they found a letter, or here they're talking about it. Never mind. Yeah. The manifesto. Monopoly money found in his backpack too. Really? Toxic. That's interesting. Okay, Zio, I'll check it. I actually have something I'm going to post in Discord that everyone should use and say to their insurance company if they get denied. If you could share it, it may help. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, he had a manifesto.
Sorry. Does he have any prior arrests? I know there were none for New York City, but is there any prior arrests anywhere else in the country?
We have not come across any arrests in the country.
Chief, hi, how are you? On 2 things. On the ghost gun, is it something you're going to be looking into to see if he made it himself? And can he make that himself? Or would he have to buy the gun the way it was?
No, once again, that would be part of our investigation as we follow up.
I mean, obviously he's going to face murder charges, but is there any chance that he could face any other charges because he was targeting the CEO and because of his writings and other things that we're now finding on him? Federal charges or
Zio just sent me the deets. So after this, we're going to check this guy out, see what his social media posts say. Because there's some interesting stuff from what I saw from just looking at it. So we'll pull that up after they finish asking questions or here in just a minute. Darlene said, remember, there's a difference in what really happened and what the media puts out, for sure. Don't believe everything the mainstream media puts out. Fred Field, thank you for being here. Fred Field said, hopefully there will be no copycat unalivers. Many people are not happy with insurance companies. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not.
That determination will be made by Alvin Bragg.
Yes, what connections does he have in Pennsylvania that you know of? Are they in Altoona specifically?
We believe he attended college in Pennsylvania.
Does he know anybody in Pennsylvania?
Toxic, I hope you feel better. And Toxic said there's a case file in As the Gavel Drops Discord, just waiting on the court date. Thank you for that. If you guys want to go check out that As the Gavel Drops Discord, they've got a lot of documents and stuff. I hope you feel better, honey.
Wouldn't be able to tell you that.
All right, we're going to take one more question from Shooting Marla, and then we're going to go.
Is there, what, you talk about the manifesto having said things against corporations, but specifically United Healthcare, and do you believe that Mangione acted alone?
We believe at this point, our investigation is leaning toward he was acting alone. So, like I stated earlier, we're still working through the investigation. We're not stopping today. And as far as the manifesto, like I said, I don't have the complete details of that. It's in the possession of the Altoona Police Department.
We're going to shift to off
Yep. Good job, Chief. Commissioner, Chief Mangie.
Toxic said people are getting tattoos of this guy and people cheering him on. It's crazy. Hey, Red Act Ed, I'm going to see if they ask any more questions and then I'll shut this down and we'll look at his social media.
Outside a New York City hotel on Wednesday. Now police are saying they're questioning Mangione in Altoona, Pennsylvania, saying among other things he was carrying fake IDs, a written document, and a gun similar to the one used in the assassination-style killing. I want to bring in ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky covering the story for us from the very beginning. Aaron, what do you make of what official?
Cara, thank you so much. Cara gifted 5 allegedly or speculation station memberships. I really appreciate that. You're such a sweetheart. I'll play our clip real quick and get our information on the social media post. Thank you, Cara. That was so sweet of you. You're so awesome. I'm going to share this screen real quick so we can check it out. It might take just a second to load. And we can see what his posts are. It might give us an idea. Oh, goodness. Zio, thank you for gifting 5 speculation station memberships. I really appreciate that. You're so sweet. I'll play our clip again real quick. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Okay, I won't play it anymore. Thank you. Thank you guys. That was so sweet. Let me scroll down. Okay. So I'm going to click over so I can see this. I want to make sure that my bunny is not blocking y'all. All right. So this is his X profile from what we can see. We can see the pictures of him in Hawaii. This looks like he's got pins in something. I don't know what that is. Luigi Mangione is his name. He says he lives in Honolulu, Hawaii. This states, 7 years ago, I gave my high school senior speech on this topic. Today, I will be talking to you about the future, about topics ranging from conscious artificial intelligence to human immortality. Likely, you'll dismiss this pretty quickly as interesting. Likely, you'll dismiss all this pretty quickly as interesting, but just science fiction. Okay. Let's see what else he stated. Smartphones and Mental Health, he shared, by Dr. John Haddett. I think John has had it. He shared Peter Tell on the many great startups being run by people suffering from a mild form of Asperger's and how we should view this as an indictment of our society. He shared the anxious generation. Here's one that he said, cellular agriculture is where solar power was 20 years ago and EV batteries were 10 years ago. This says horror vacuum. Nature abhors as a vacuum. Relevant read. Christianity's decline has unleashed terrible new gods. New atheism assumed as people abandoned Christianity, they would embrace a sort of enlightened secular position. Modern Japanese urban environment is an evolutionary mismatch for the human animal. The solution to falling birth dates isn't immigration, it's cultural. Encourage the natural human interaction, relations, physical fitness, and spirituality. Let me see what y'all are saying because I can't see you. Yeah, thank you, Zayo. And I'm going to share, good question, Abellis. I'm going to share what Carr sent me. Carr said that he had something out for United Healthcare, in my opinion. We'll read a little bit more of this. I don't know if he's going to have anything on here related. Like, I'm sure he would have deleted it before. What the crap are you doing, sir? Meet Venezuela. Okay. It'll soon be ubiquitous among upper class families to restrict kids from under 16 from using social media. Goodness. Hopefully the trend spreads to all families. I'm trying to see posts that he made. Ancient Rome was the world's most powerful empire for 500 years. These are phenomenal. Took me years to learn on my own. I've been going to the gym for 10 years. Here are 50 things I wish I had known from the beginning. Essential read to understand modern civilization. Can this trash be illegal? Part 1 of 3. I used to get bummed in math class when learning theorems. All the low-hanging fruit has been solved before I was born. If I was alive at the time of Pythagoras, I could have easily derived the Pythagorean theorem and etched my place in history. But now I feel lucky for my 21st century education. I get to simply download the knowledge of all who came before me, allowing me to stand on their shoulders and ponder new problems they never would have had access to. If the 5th century BC Pythagoras discovered algebraic theorems, if the 19th century Darwin discovered the evolution of species, then what topics does the 21st century mind explore? I'd say evolutionary psychology, primitive neuroscience, and information networks. In retrospect, it shouldn't have been surprising. Confirmation bias is what happens when the little lawyer in your head takes control of your thinking process, and smart people have a very smart little lawyer in there. All right. Hey, Wade Lambert, thank you for being here. Yeah, this is something. I'll scroll down just a little bit more, but I'm sure he deleted anything having to do with why he did it before he did what he did. I believe this book will go down in history as the most important philosophical text of the early 21st century, and the book is by Tim Urban. My book, What's Our Problem, is now available. So, I mean, it sounds like, he's talking about philosophy, artificial intelligence, the corrupt world we live in today. If you start your day with social media, the news, or email, realize you're starting your day at the mercy of others. Well, that's a true statement. Pro dog headlines, pro raccoon headlines. It's nothing's talking about like health insurance or like why he would go after that person. He shared seasonal and circadian rhythms and their disruptions have a profound effect on mental health. I mean, he talks about mental health a lot. No idea how long this will last, so let's get the brag in while it's happening. I mean, I think it's just, it's post on books. Basil's eating crackers, if y'all hear that. Oh, it's that book, What's Our Problem? So I'm guessing we're in the placebo group. Well, that's a funny picture. Deep fake scams are here, and we're not ready. I'm not seeing anything, but if you guys want to check that out, it's his ex profile is Luigi Mangione. If you guys want to continue checking that out. Let me see what y'all are saying real quick. Cara said, Florida definitely does some things I don't agree with, but I agree with the limiting social media. Kids get bullied and do bullying nonstop with access to social media. I mean, I agree with that too. I think children should be limited on social media. No, they will make all his social media writings look the way they want it to look, so everyone will be persuaded to believe what they want you to believe. I'm sorry, y'all. I just don't trust certain things. I ran out of room. I got it. The LinkedIn, did you send me that? You might have. I wonder what his profession was. I'll share this real quick. I was pulling this up. This is what Cara sent me. The denial rates. Yeah, I can't say that fool's last name either. So Cara sent me this. It's health insurance claim denial rates in network 2024. United Healthcare is at the top with 33%. Then Medica with 28, Molina with 27%, Blue Cross with 22, Athena with 22, Signia with 21, CareSource with 21, Select Health with 19, Anthem with 18, Oscar with 17, Superior Health 15, Christus and Better. Christus is at 15%, and Better is at 14%, Health Options 14%, Celtic 13%, and Kaiser is at 6%. I did send it to you, but it's just his credentials mostly. Okay, I'll pull it up real quick. And then we'll jump into Alieen Wuornos. Hold on just a minute. All righty then. Oh, I can't sign into LinkedIn. Hold on. Let me try. Let me try to sign into this. It might show passwords. Yeah, it's not going to let me. But Zio said that it was just his credentials. So I'll jump over to, we'll jump over to Alieen now. So that was the information on the healthcare employee. All right. Yeah, I get tongue-tied too. I also posted something to tell your insurance companies if you get denied. Wasn't he an Ivy League student? He went to college in Pennsylvania. So is deepfake AI? I don't know. It could be. It's a good question. All right, we'll start on Alieen now. Oh, why are you going? Stop it. I backed it up a little bit so we could catch up to where we were last time. I'm going to put some music on in the background just to try to save myself. This is from Court TV. It is the court trial of Alieen Wuornos, and we're going through that. Okay.
We can't use our hands.
You're even a victim of the law.
Objection, Your Honor.
You're even a victim of the law.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you just said because of the law.
Oh. All right, we can't use our hands, is what I'm saying. We have to have a weapon. Were you trying to tell us us convicted felons cannot defend ourselves? We have to have a way to defend ourselves.
They think that all convicted felons should be allowed to carry guns.
Objection, Your Honor. Well,
Is that what you're saying?
say what I didn't hear what you
So
said.
you think that convicted felons should be allowed to carry guns?
Because a lot of them do turn into the Lord, and a lot of them are very decent people and very straightforward people. So they broke the law. Everybody breaks the law, and I bet you do too. Matter of fact, you drive a car and pollute the earth.
And some of them should.
We can see that she's getting agitated. I'm going to try to turn this down just a little bit. I wanted to back it up so we could remember kind of where we were at. So you guys can see that she's starting to get agitated now.
Shoot men to death in cold blood, don't they?
Objection, Your Honor.
Some of them shoot men to death in cold blood, don't they?
No, they don't. I didn't shoot anybody in cold blood. Although I would have been out there decaying instead.
You've never shot anyone in cold blood?
That's right. Objection, Your Honor.
The judge is just fed up. Did you hear how he said sustained? She's getting agitated, like I said.
I don't have the heart to shoot somebody in cold blood.
Did you ever shoot a man in the back of the head because he was
Objection,
struggling?
Your Honor. I'm not going to answer that question, and it does not belong with this case. Different circumstances to different reasons and circumstances, and I don't need to answer that. It has nothing to do with Richard Miller.
Would you like to answer it?
No, I'm not going to.
Lee, I'm instructing you not to answer any questions about anything other than Richard Mauer and asking you not to talk about it.
Maybe council would like to get up and
Objection.
Your Honor, do I have permission to talk now that Mr. DeMore has spoken?
No, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Thanks, Judge.
They're having to get on to each other. Counsel's arguing. The judge is fed up.
So Ms. Jenkins was examining you that Mr. Mallory solicited you for sex?
No. When we got to Quail Run, he asked me how I know so much about married people. He said, I thought you were single. You told me you had a roommate. And I said, well, I guess it's time for me to be honest and tell you that I hustle. for a living. That's why I know married people, because 98% of my people are married that I meet.
You propositioned him then?
He asked me my prices. He said, well, you mean sex? And I said, I laughed and I said, yeah, sex. He said, well, how much do you charge? And it carried on from there.
No, don't you do it. Stop it. Okay. So we're still going through this. We're doing a deep dive on, thank you, on Alieen Wuornos. I just wanted to go over the case and let us hear all of the questioning and stuff. Zayo found some interesting information on this this case in particular afterwards, some things she said later on in her life that hopefully I have time to play today. Hey, Reese, thank you for being here.
You say that was after you got off the interstate?
Yes.
Didn't you tell Deputy Horzepa that after he offered you the drink and you just got past Orlando and your words were getting pretty drunk now and we're continually going down the road and we're getting drunk royal, and I asked him if he wanted to help me make some money, that I need some money for rent and everything. He was interested at the time, so we go out and we stop at this place on US 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, you know, kind of surprisingly, Red Act Ed, 98% of the people who go out there and implore the services of ladies of the night are married. I believe this statistic. Maybe not 98%, but it's a high number.
I was very incoherent, and when I was saying something, it always was chopped up what was happening because I couldn't remember correctly, plus I was thinking of Tyra confessing, but that still means that yes, at Quail Run that happened, not past Orlando, but I'm talking about we've got past Orlando, now we're in Daytona. I'm sure that's how I was thinking. We finally got past Orlando, now we're on US 1, which we were on US 1 on Quail Run. And then we talked about sex and...
Then you agreed to take your clothes off. You took your clothes off, and that was usual for you, wasn't it?
I always usually took my clothes off first with any guy, just because, I mean, that is if we're doing sex for an hour or whatever. You know, it's not with head or anything, just for an hour.
All right, then according to your first statement to Detective Horzepa.
Yeah, I was wondering just now when I heard that, I thought she stated that, you know, they had some kind of conversation that went on longer than that before she took her clothes off. Reese said, good to see you. Hi, allegedly. Good to be here getting ready for a lunch date. Oh, goodness. Well, good luck with a man who needs a hospice wife. Well, that's interesting. I hope you have a good time. Anders, yes, about 100 kilometers of north of Victoria is where I live. You live on Vancouver Island? That's interesting. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that, Reese. Black Angus cows.
That time he gave you some money.
He didn't give me any money. I told you guys he didn't give me any money.
No, that's what you said today. You said he didn't give you any money, right?
He didn't give me any money. He never gave me any money.
But you told Deputy Horzepa back in January of '91 when you took your taped statement that he gave you the money.
No, and then I recorrected myself later in the pages. You should read on. And I also told him it was a different story. And the handbag deal is not even with Richard Mallory. It's a totally different guy. I was getting mixed up. And plus, he kept asking me about somebody else and somebody else and somebody else and switching me around so many times. I was confused on who was who I was thinking of.
Well, here was your statement, and you were talking about Mallory. And it's just below you where you talk about proposition him on page 5. We get to page 6 at the bottom. And you said, so we go to the woods. You say, okay, I want to drink of this stuff, and it's about 5, and I'm just start making, and so he gives me the money, and I start to disrobe.
And
Pardon me?
And I think if you check on page 9 or something, it states, no, he didn't give me any money.
We'll get there. And he said, now this guy is getting really he's starting to get a little, kissing me and stuff. Anyway, he hasn't disrobed himself at all. That was Mr. Mallory, wasn't it?
I can't, put myself in her shoes, but it would be concerning if you were in that field and the other person hadn't disrobed as well. And I'm sure her guard was up at that point in time. Bad Girl said, Lee sounds so clear-headed here. She does. She has been detoxed. She's been sitting in prison. She's ready for court. She's prepared herself. I appreciate, she's very pretty. She's very clear-headed, now that she's off all of the substances, for sure.
Yes, I was thinking about the very last seconds of what happened, when he didn't take off his clothes at that moment when I'm speaking.
And you're still talking about Mr. Mallory on page 7. You said, okay, so anyway, we're in the front seat. He's hugging it, kissing on me and all this shit. And so then he starts, pushing me down. And I said, wait a minute, get cool. You don't have to get rough, This is, let's have fun. This is for fun, And he's telling me, well, baby, I've been waiting for this all night long and stuff like that. And that was in the front seat of the car. That was Mallory, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I did not express that correctly. I was totally incoherent. And if you read on, I think it says it's a different story.
We'll get there. And then you go on, at this time, you're in the passenger seat, he's in the driver's seat, right?
Mm.
Yep.
Now, who's in the passenger seat? Who'd you say?
You're in the passenger seat.
Yes.
And he's in the driver's seat. And he's behind the wheel of the car, correct? Answer yes or no, please.
Yes. He's behind the wheel of the car, you said? Yes.
Okay. And you say the doors are open. Then you say
she's getting agitated, and he's trying to agitate her. He's showing that she lied in her confession, which is true, but she's trying to correct him and tell him, if you look on this page, you'll see where I didn't lie. Again, I question how they could get this confession out of her, because she was under duress, she was under substances, all of that. Like, now they ask you, have you taken any medications today? Have you drank today? The line of questioning and how you are allowed to question someone if they've been possibly using substances or drinking is a lot different. Alieen was smart, street smart, of course, too. Yep. Alieen does have redeeming qualities. Thank you guys for the trigger warning. Okay, Anders, thank you. She's not shy about anything. I don't think you would be at this point, considering her life so far.
but he's really getting heavy, on me, and stuff. And I'm going like, he's getting to where he just wants to just, unzip his pants, not take his pants off or anything. Just start having sex and stuff. Is that Mr. Mallory you're talking about?
That's the very last end when I pulled the cord and everything. He didn't take his clothes off.
Nowhere before that do you mention a cord at all. I
didn't get a chance to. I told you guys about anal screwing with Mallory in the beginning, and I don't know how it goes, how he questions me. I haven't even been able to read those.
You haven't been able to read the transcript that you're
I have read it, but I don't remember what it says. But I just know that I was questioned improperly, where I was totally mixed up. I was totally incoherent. I was in shock, hysteria. I was thinking about Ty. I was freaking about her because they said they were going to arrest her. I couldn't remember. I was withdrawing from alcohol royal. I had been on a 7-week royal binge of drinking, or no, not 7, 5-week royal binge of drinking since she left me because I was all bummed out about her leaving me. I was totally gone up here. I did not know what. I did the best of my ability, but plus I didn't know what to say. I knew in my mind I didn't want to talk about it because couldn't remember. I had blackouts.
See, now that wouldn't fly. Like, if you stated that that's your state of mind during these confessions, that would not have flown nowadays. She's not shy about anything, said Abellis, and Red Axe said she's bold. She definitely is.
But you told him, great.
So I did the best I could.
You told him,
I could.
Excuse me. You told in great detail of the location, geographically, road-wise, and everything else where you were picked up, didn't you?
With who?
With Mr. Mallory.
When?
Well, how many
With
times?
who?
How many times did he pick
Who are
you
you
up?
talking about?
Well, let's talk about all of them if you like.
No. Who are you talking about? Who do I talk this to? My lawyers or?
Yeah, you told in great detail to Mr. Detective Forzeppa where Mr. Mallory picked you up.
Oh, yeah, just I-4, I-75.
The whole conversation, how you two got along and all that sort of.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I said just I-4 and I-75 in Tampa. That
You
was
said
it.
you did a lot of talking and you thought he's a nice guy.
On the way from Tampa to Daytona, yes, we talked a lot.
And then you told him that when he wouldn't unzip his pants, you said to him, and well, why don't you just disrobe or something? You know, I mean, why do you have to have your clothes still on?
No, because I didn't know what I was talking about on that one, because I told you it was a different story. I confused myself with other guys. And I'm not going to get into other details of the other cases because they're totally different what happened today. And I'm not, I mean, you know, there's a rape.
What other story are you talking about now? You're not
I don't think, you know, at this point, like maybe when it was fresh in her mind, it wouldn't have been hard, like it would have been easy to keep track. But considering how many homicides she had committed by the time she's being questioned for this, I don't think for a second that she didn't have trouble remembering and keeping track of who was who. Abella said those men hate her for being a woman of the night, but use her services hypocrites. Yep. Hey, Michelle, thank you for being here. Glad to see you.
I don't know.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm trying to tell you, I was incoherent in those confessions, and I don't know what I'm talking about because all I'm talking about in 25 pages is Claire and Tyra, Jolene Moore.
You're talking about killing a man.
Pardon?
You're talking about killing a man in 25 pages.
No.
The only place you talk about Claire and Tyra Moore generally is at the start of these transcripts.
I said it 37 times I stated Claire, or 17 times I stated Claire and Tyra, and 20, I think it's 37 times, something like that, about confessing only for Tyra. No, confessing only for Tyra 17 times, I believe.
You say this is some other person you were talking about that wouldn't unzip his pants and you got mad?
Pardon?
You said this is some other person.
Objection, Your Honor, is going into the same area again, same objection. I'll direct her not to answer the question.
I don't know what her answer is.
I'm just getting just as confused as when these confessions were being questioned. I don't understand what you're getting at.
All right, try to listen to the question. You said that this person who wouldn't unzip his pants to have sex with someone else. Who is that? Who is that other person you're talking about?
What did you read that over? I don't even know what he's talking about.
That's not what she said.
It's not what I said in there. Okay.
Were you asking Ms. Jenkins or were you answering questions?
Again, trying to get her to admit to the other crimes that the jury's not supposed to know about.
Well, apparently, I just heard, it's too late now, that's not what it says in there. You're just making up something.
No, she said that wasn't what she said.
Oh.
You think I'm making up something here?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about because I don't know what you're reading.
All right, here's what I asked you.
What page?
Page 7.
Okay. On Mallory.
On Mallory. And you said, now like he's getting to where he just wants to, unzip his pants, not take his pants off or anything. He starts having sex and stuff. And I said, well, why don't you just disrobe or something, I mean, why do you have your...
Why haven't they provided her a copy of the transcript? Because nowadays they would. He's not ruling on objections. He's not.
Okay. There, I must be, when I first asked him to disrobe, see, I'm mixed up totally. I asked him to disrobe because it was getting cold in the car. I said, why don't you undress so we can let's get started. It's cold in here. So I know that's what part I'm talking about there.
All right, and you said that's where just before that you said he's kissing on you and getting heavy. Is that what you're talking about?
Then that's what I'm saying. I was totally mentally blocked totally, I had blackouts completely about that night, what happened exactly. And I'm just choppy as can be.
Well, when
So what?
when you said you're in the front seat, he's kissing, hugging, you talk about Mr. Mallory, right?
Richard Mallory never even kissed and hugged me. He did that one after he was raping me.
So when you told,
And if I said he's getting heavy on me, kissing and hugging me, that's rape.
I see.
Heavy means rape.
Although you've offered to have sex, you're laying there naked on your back.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
What kind of bullshit was that? Like, that was just uncalled for, in my opinion. Why degrade her? But I mean, that's their job.
You've offered to have sex and you're laying there naked on your back and the man paid you and you say it's rape when he's kissing and getting on you?
He didn't pay me. And I don't know what you're talking about. He didn't pay me. He's not kissing me because for regular sex. He raped me. This is when he gets heavy. And I don't know what you're talking about.
And then you went on to say, then he started getting violent. Then he started getting violent with me and we're fighting a little bit. Is that what you said?
Well, the way I talk, it's like, well, we were fighting a little bit and, you know, that's the way I talk.
But you expanded upon that today to tell the story of being tied up and raped.
Well, we did fight a little bit. It wasn't a whole lot of fighting when I grabbed his arms at the very end and he slapped me in the face. It didn't last 5 minutes.
Oh!
Only lasted half a minute the most, maybe.
Mic drop. That is degrading to him, though, after death. Yeah, everybody's saying, wow. Her life was horrible. And said Abellis, and Michelle said, it truly was so sad. It really was.
Where the fight little bitch, you said, and I had my purse right there on the passenger floor. And you said, no, it wasn't about the purse, it was a blue bag.
That's right. I carried a tote bag.
Could it have been the brown purse you had with Bobby Copas?
I did. Yeah, why don't you check that gun and see if it fits? Because I'm telling you, it doesn't. And Bobby Copas doesn't know what he's talking about because Bobby Copas never picked me up.
All right, well, onto the blue bag. You said you had the blue bag and you had it zipped on the side and it was unzipped because you wanted to make sure if anything happened, I could use my gun. Things were starting to happen where I think he was gonna roll me, take my money back. What are you talking about?
Well, probably what I'm thinking is that this guy is going to just rape me, take my money, kill me, whatever, dump me off. I don't know. Maybe he thinks I have $500-600 on me.
Take my money back. You talking about the money that he gave you earlier?
He never gave me any money. No way.
You said, or beat me up or whatever.
I mean, you know, this is a dangerous profession, and during this time period, it's very dangerous as well. I mean, even today, it's dangerous. Women end up gone on the side of the road, unfortunately, all the time. Yeah, he is a Minuteman, right? And she's getting frustrated, though. I mean, that's his job, is to frustrate her, and we're seeing that.
When I say take my money back, I'm sure that's just I was doing okay hiring. I wasn't even talking like that. It's just like my expression, you know, the way I was expressing myself.
Here's your words. It's why you're starting to grab this gun. You said, I think he was gonna roll me, take my money back, beat me up. Let me finish. I'm gonna read your statement. I think he was gonna roll me, take my money back, beat me up, or whatever the heck he's gonna do.
Yeah, and doesn't it say this is a different story at the end?
So I jumped out. You say you're not talking about Mallory there? Miss Mallory?
I may be talking a little bit about him, but then I might be talking about somebody else in it. So that's why I said, wait a minute, this is all messed up.
Well,
it's like I'm trying to tell you.
Well, if this isn't Mr. Mallory, who are you talking about?
Objection, Your Honor.
Stop trying to get her to admit to other crimes in front of this jury, sir.
Objection, Lee, don't answer the question.
I couldn't get each.
Lee, don't answer the question.
Mr. Horseba only asked you about Mr. Mallory, didn't he?
He just asked me about Mr. Mallory?
Right. Didn't Detective Munster ask you about the other?
No, Josefa questioned me and a couple others.
But in any event, at this point, you've been talking about Mallory according to the questions and the answers you gave that point, correct?
Say that over.
Yes, you were talking about Mallory when you said, so I jumped out of the car with my bag and I grabbed the gun.
No, because I didn't never get out of the car. So I'm saying I never had it. I was never coherent enough to tell you what actually happened because there was too many blank spots. I had to sit back, put all the pieces together. This person, what happened. I was drunk as could be that night. I had to try to remember, like, what did happen exactly, precisely, and everything. I couldn't tell you that. And if I started to, like I say, every time I messed up and wanted to start over, you guys interrupted me. You talked about Richard Mallory, and then, 11 or 12 pages later, then you come back to Mallory again after you've gone through a whole bunch of jazz about some other stuff. Had me confused. And then you talk about, the detective.
I wonder if that was intentional for this very reason. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Gammy, thank you for being here.
Munster or Josefa or whatever would talk about a sausage truck guy, and then ask me about, well, did you find his wallet?
And
then he was talking about Richard Mallory.
Excuse me, Lawrence, I don't have a question for you based upon what you're doing now. Let me just finish this question. He said, I jumped out of the car with my bag and I grabbed the gun. He said, and I said, get out of the car. And he said, what's going on? I said, you son of a bitch. I knew you were going to rape me. And he said, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
And why don't you read the rest? It says it's a different story.
Is that what you said? That what you said?
That may be what I said, but it's wrong because it wasn't. I was not coherent, and it's totally about somebody else, which I'm not going to talk about.
Well, how about here? In later on, you said, oh no, that wasn't it. Is that where you corrected?
I don't.
Your Honor, I'm going to object unless he's willing to give her a copy of the transcript. It's impossible for her to recall.
That's serious.
I've been waiting for that. Like, why haven't we offered a copy of the transcript yet? I've been wondering that this whole damn time.
Sir,
Page, Counselor.
Okay.
Page 7. Okay. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
He said, get out of the car. That's you speaking. He said, what's going on? And I said, you son of a bitch, I knew you were going to rape me. He said, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. And I said, oh, yes, you were. You know you're going to try to rape me, man. So anyway, I told him, step away from the car. And then he said, oh, no.
Just reading through the transcript. I have submitted a FOIA request to get all this information. Gammy, whenever you get here, you're just on time, and I really appreciate the replay. Said, wish I was better at chat and wish I could support y'all sooner. Baby, you support us by being here, honey. You don't have to do nothing else. Thank you for being here. Cara said, okay, what Alieen did was not right. However, I do not think she deserves the death penalty. She was given an unfair trial. Judge and prosecutor wanted blood. Right, I agree with that statement. I don't think that she should have gotten the death penalty either. But, to be fair, she asked for it. We're going to get through this today and then play some, hopefully I'll have time today to play some stuff after the trial, like some stuff from her in jail. And that'll probably be it for because I think we spent probably about enough time on Alieen.
No, I didn't. All this is another thing, okay? I know what happened, okay? I jumped out of the car. Now we say I jumped out of the car, you're talking about Mallory again, right?
Wait.
Yes.
I got page 7, and I don't see anything you're talking about here.
I'm sorry, page 8 now, start on page 7.
Okay.
You said, oh, no, I didn't. All this is another thing, okay? I know what happened, okay? I jumped out of the car. And that was Mallory you were talking about.
No, because I told you, yeah, he was starting to get physically do stuff to me. Oh, this is a different story. God, see it so long ago. And that's why I'm totally incoherent. I can't remember everything. You guys are asking me questions about these incidences that happened. When my mind's focused on Tyra, I only came here to confess. I don't know what I'm doing here talking to you guys about the other things. And I'm like, well, should I even answer these questions? I really don't want to. And I'm also confused anyway when I start talking about them
and she's under the influence of substances and alcohols, which would not be allowed in any court today, a confession, because it's taken under an altered state of mind. That would be a big problem today. Bellis, thank you so much for gifting 10 alleged speculating station memberships. I really appreciate that. You're so sweet. Hold on, I'll play the clip. You're so sweet. Thank you so much for that. That helps out so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bellis. You're so sweet. You guys are showing out today. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Let me get this playing again.
that I get mixed up with different people because you guys keep asking me, you know, okay, it's all right, take your time. And then you say, yeah, okay, I jumped out of the car, I pulled my gun out when he started to physically do shit with me. And now what type of gun do you have? Now you don't even let me go on. I mean, they weren't letting me go on.
Hello, Constance Atkinson. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. Constance Atkinson said thank you. Thank you for coming in and saying hey. Yeah, the bunny's just a video. Zio made me that. I love it. You know, we have Basil. If you have your memberships in the emojis, there's a bunch of different ones about Basil. I think there might be 2, but he's in there for sure.
And or nothing to recorrect myself or anything. They kept. Now he just asked me about. Now for the next 11 pages, he's talking about all different guys. White pickup truck, and I say, what white pickup truck? I don't recall a white pickup truck.
Lee, I'm going to instruct you not to talk about any other charges.
All right.
You have cases pending.
You went on to say that on that same.
I again don't understand how this has not been declared a mistrial by now. Like I want to finish listening to the prosecutions. I forgot about watching her when she's given the death penalty and seeing all of that. Let me tell y'all real quick. First of all, the bunny is not Basil though. Thank you, Michelle, for listening. Yeah, just a minute. I do want to tell y'all that we will probably do Alieen tomorrow, and I'll try to finish it up tomorrow. Wednesday, I have to go to the doctor, so I won't be on Wednesday, but I'm working on having the homicide indictment videos back out. I've got one that they keep kicking back that I fixed again, and it's going to come out when I drop the second video in that the second reading of that stuff, and I'm going to set them to drop when we go live on Wednesday since I won't be here. So between today and tomorrow, we will finish Alieen Wuornos.
Same page that this was a 9-shot 22 caliber pistol, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that it was fully loaded?
Yeah, I usually carry it loaded.
Does this appear to be that pistol?
I mean, considering her line of work, yeah, she would need a loaded pistol, honestly, to keep herself safe. I mean, it's not even safe now, and this was the wild, wild west of having a job as the lady of the night. we have to look up like how many homicides were committed on women of the night back in that time period. It's insane. And how many went missing and were never seen again. I mean, men just did whatever the hell they wanted, and you couldn't do shit about it because you would go to jail if you admitted to being a lady of the night. I absolutely think she should have had that, and maybe even more on her. So if I'm just giving my opinion.
Exhibit 20.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is your pistol? Yes?
Yes.
I said Wild Wild West. I meant Wild West. Sorry about that.
Pistol you killed Richard Mallory with? Yes?
Yes.
Pistol that you threw away under Rose Bay Bridge in Volusia County, correct?
Yes.
Nearly a year later, right?
Pardon?
Nearly a year later, you threw it away.
Okay. So she threw it under the bridge. Abella said, so sad and infuriating. Absolutely is. Red Act Ed said absolutely. Natasha, hey love, says, hey loves, just listening while I work, but wanted to say hello real quick. Hope everyone's having a good day. I am. Thank you for asking. And thank you for dropping in to say hey. Today we have a sugardaddy.com. Oh, goodness, said Red Act Ed.
Your advice to Tyra Jolene Moore?
Now you say Tyra Moore advised you to throw the pistol away?
Yes, she did.
When did she do that?
The very last stages of our relationship. I told her I was going to go ahead and quit hustling, and she said, just throw the gun away in the river or something.
I absolutely believe that, but I believe if you ask Natasha, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you out like that. If you asked Tyra about it, she would have said no.
At that time, did she know that you had killed 7 men with it?
Your Honor, objection, same grounds. Lee, don't answer that question.
At that time, did she know you had killed Richard Mallory with it?
Yes, because she knew it was self-defense. I told her 14 days later about the bruise and everything, and I told her what happened.
I mean, we already know that they were out for blood because she was so notorious by the time she got arrested. And I mean, they're just slaughtering her and talking about these other homicides that she's committed. This trial was not fair at all, in my opinion.
And she knows it's self-defense.
Was there any other reason that you know of that she told you to throw it away?
No, because she used to tell me, do you got your gun? Do you have your rubbers? Make sure that you clean the vehicles out very good. If you ever run into an incident like that again, don't let anybody hurt you, honey. And you've been violently raped, and I'll never want to see anybody do anything like that to you again.
Did you ever tell her about any violent rapes after Mallory or attempted
Objection,
Mallory?
Your Honor, same grounds. Lee, don't answer the question.
She's obviously frustrated and fed up. I would be too.
Now, you'd only had that gun for maybe a couple of months at most, or maybe as short as a couple of days, right?
I've had it for at least ever since Rutland, which I don't know. Somebody has to check up and see. When I lived in Rutland before Ocean Camp Village Campground, that's when I got the gun.
Was there a record where you purchased it?
Objection, Your Honor.
I mean, that was a stupid question. She's a felon. She can't go out to the gun store and purchase a firearm. Come on now. Hey, Mary. Yeah, we went over that on the first part of our live. If you want to rewind, you can see where we stringed the press conference and talked about it. And we pulled up his Twitter account. And then we started talking again about Alieen. Charlie Theron did do a good job at this. And thank you for being here, Mary.
Approach.
I'm not going to answer it.
I think we need to.
All right. But if she's not going to answer it, we don't need to go anywhere. Respectfully, Your Honor.
Yes.
Well, on page 9 of your transcript of your deposition, you first say that I don't, they asked you how long you'd had it, months, years. You said, I don't know, man. It might have been about maybe a couple of months ago. And then Detective Forzeka said, okay, you had the gun quite a long time. You again said.
They're again showing the jury pool, which is something that they don't do nowadays either, which nowadays this would have been thrown out. She did incredible, yeah. Yeah, nowadays this would have been declared a mistrial way before now.
He said, no, only a couple of months before. And he said, right. And then you said, I think, and he responded, that's no problem. Then you said, I might have got the gun just then. I can't remember, like 2 days before or something.
Well, like I said, what are you supposed to do? Stop the clock, let me heal my mind from my hysteria and everything else. I'm not going to answer any questions coherently. I was incoherent, I was hysteria, I was just totally in Pluto. So whatever I said didn't make sense, basically. And I've read one time this confession, and it shows nothing but hysteria, and incoherence. There is no coherence whatsoever, hardly at all, in this confession. It shows I am freaking out. And so any questions that I answer are not going to be coherent or, well, if you even want to say honest, because I can't be honest, because I can't say the truth of what's happening, because I'm incoherent. I don't know. And I'm telling you right now, I got the gun in Rutland, so take it from there. That's all I can do.
Well, then on that same page, the discussion concerning Mr. Mowry resumes. That's page 9.
He's going to continue on with this, even though she stated she was not coherent.
And Detective Forzeka said, okay, so you're back there, you jump out of the car. Your response was, I jumped out of the car because he was physically starting to abuse me.
Oh, Mary.
Page 9, next to the bottom.
Okay.
And I remember.
Mary, you're good, honey. I was just letting you know so that you could watch that part if you wanted to.
For now, he didn't give me any money. This was another guy. This guy, he said, well, I'll give you no. I said, well, I always take my money first. See how the merchandise is. And then the question, this was Mr. Mowry told you? Your answer, yes.
I do recall him saying something about merchandise, but that was.
Okay. There's no question you jumped out of the car, though, with Mr. Mowry before you shot him.
No, I jumped out of the car after he was shot 3 times, and I ran to the driver's side, opened the door, was looking at him. He was starting to come out at me, and I just said, don't come any closer to me or something like that. I'm going to have to keep shooting you if you do. And he just kept on coming, and so I shot him.
All right, so you shot him 3 times from, according to you, inside the car, right?
I shot him 3 times, yeah.
And that's not an automatic pistol. You have to pull the trigger and cock it.
No, it shoots real easy.
Really?
It's got like a hairpin trigger to it.
And
a hairpin trigger, she says. Darlene said, hey, I know I missed a lot. I had to step away a few minutes. I ordered a cat tower for my kitty, and it looks like I need an engineer to put it together. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
And after you shot him 3 times, where did those bullets hit him?
Well, all I know is that he was reaching his arm, and since I've seen from you guys, one must have went under there. And I don't know where the others, they went in the front area. I don't know where.
Then you got out the passenger door and ran all the way around the car, correct?
Yeah.
According to this story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you opened the door, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you shot him again?
He was coming out of the car, and I do even state it in here now if you want to. I say something about he's getting out of the car somewhere in here. I'm 55 or something. 53. Yeah, it's 53. I think.
And you said that this discussion about money, you hadn't asked for the money because you thought he's a pretty nice guy.
She's trying to tell you where the correction is, and you just move on like she didn't even say anything.
Is that right?
Say that again?
You hadn't asked for the money in advance because you thought he was a pretty nice guy. Is that right?
Yeah, because I had traveled with him from Tampa to Daytona. He hasn't tried anything on me yet, so.
All right, and then you go
Get all
on.
the worldly chances to when we stop to take leaks and everything.
All right, and Deputy Ortega's just listening now. He said, you talked about the money. He said this is what Mallory told you. And you said yes. And then he said, okay, waiting for your next explanation. And your answer was, so I said, well, since I've been talking to you all night long, I think you seem like a pretty nice guy, so okay, let's go have fun. So I started to lay down, and he's gonna, unzip his pants.
Objection, Your Honor. Is there a question, or is he just reading her statement to her?
I don't know. Did you say that? Is that what happened?
The judge don't even know at this point.
Telling you that's not what happened. I'm telling you I'm incoherent again in this statement, not expressing myself right, what really happened. And I go into other details with other people in here where I'm totally talking about one person, another person, even talking about Richard
Lady,
Mallory
I
and
have to
theirs.
advise you not to talk about any other charges.
All right, you're talking about Mr. Mallory here, though, weren't you?
Apparently it says this is what Mr. Mallory told you. I say yes, but then you go okay, and then I go carry on. But believe me, I'm not talking. I'm incoherent. I'm not saying it right.
Well, this doesn't sound incoherent.
I'm thinking of another incident with him.
Listen to this sentence. You said, why don't you take your clothes off? My God, I said, well, it hurt to do that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty incoherent to me.
And then he got pissed.
I mean, mic drop, it sounds pretty incoherent to me too, because you're saying it hurt to take your clothes off. Pretty incoherent to me too.
Called me, he said, fuck you, baby. I'm gonna screw you right here and now, or something like that. Was that Mr. Mallory?
I didn't remember the night what happened. I did the best I could to get close on that particular thought in mind.
And he went on to say that you were in the woods with the door open, right?
Pardon, what'd you say?
You went on to acknowledge that you were in the woods and the doors of the automobile were open.
They were not open.
But you said they were.
Again, I'm going to have to go over this with you 100 times over because I'm
just
not.
asking you to answer. Did you say they were at that time?
I said they were at that time, I guess.
All right. We've heard your explanation. All you have to do is answer yes or no to this part of the question, okay? And then the question about money. Right after the word okay, you said, I remember that, referring to the woods and the doors open. You said, and I said, no, you're not gonna just fuck me. You gotta pay.
I know we're going over this and it's like long, but there is a method to this because we're going to review some things after this. It might be tomorrow about this case in particular. I haven't decided if we'll do that. We might cut to that today since it's referencing this case and then go back to hear them sentence her and all of that. But it is important to hear her talk about this case.
Is that what you said to Mr. Mallory?
Like I said.
Is that what you said to Miss Mallory, yes or no?
If that's what's in the confessions, I guess I can't say that it isn't. It's there.
Is that what you said to him?
No, I'm saying no.
Okay.
I didn't say it right.
And you say it's because you were totally incoherent and didn't understand what you're doing?
Yes, I was, totally. And if you would have saw me 45 minutes before I even talked on the confessions, and when I just got off that phone, you would have seen me in a total hysterical state royal. I couldn't stop laughing and crying and everything else that was going on.
And then you continued to say, you said, and he said, oh, bullshit. And that's when I got pissed. Isn't that what you said?
If that's what
Objection, Your Honor, that is not what it says.
That's one person. I'm sorry. You're correct. Thank you, counsel. And he said, oh, bullshit. And that's when he got pissed. Is that right?
You don't have to apologize for defending your client there, ma'am, on the defense.
If that's what it says in there, but I'm telling you, like I said before, I would talk about one person and then it would be another person I'm talking about, then another person, and it would be Mallory I'm talking about. With mixing up even, I had it so mixed up in here. There's just, Tyra asked me to get drunk and erase these incidents. Keep erasing. That's just what I did. I erased. And when they started questioning me on these, I was totally lost because I couldn't remember. I had blank spots wrong.
Well, how about today? You told a story about alcohol and anal rape, and you had all sorts of details that you never, ever, ever revealed to the police. Right?
Absolutely, because she's sobered up and she remembers these things now, and it's come back. It's a trauma response. Your brain forgets things in order to protect you from the trauma. Number one, all the substances were keeping her from remembering the traumas, and she went in there thinking she was just going to admit to the crime so they would leave Ty alone. Again, I mean, I know they were out for blood when they put her on trial, but none of this would be acceptable today. And it's interesting to look back on this and see how this was all considered acceptable at the time, or was it just the client?
Ever what?
Revealed to the police.
And I can talk about every one now today, but I'm not going to. No.
Objection, Your Honor. Lee, again, I would advise you not to talk about any other incident other than Mallory.
Thank you, Your Honor. You say, well, I'm coming back to recollection. Okay, so then we started fighting and everything else, and I jumped out. He grabbed my bag, and I grabbed my bag, and the arm busted. And I got the bag again, and I pulled it out of his hand. That's when I grabbed the pistol. That's what happened. What?
No, different. That is a totally different guy.
And I just shot him in the front seat. Shot Mr. Mallory in the front seat.
But not that way. That's not what happened. I told you it was a different guy, and it even states it was a different guy. That's the same phrase that I say, it's a different story.
Would you tell us who you're talking about here?
Your Honor,
No, I
objection,
can't.
same objection.
You went on to say that, in fact, you showed where the bullet struck on the videotape, didn't you?
Pardon?
You stood up and showed where the bullet struck on the videotape on the right side, didn't you?
I tried to. I don't remember how matter of fact, yesterday I didn't notice what I was doing.
And that was talking about Mr. Mallory, wasn't it?
I guess.
Then you go on to page 10 and say, okay, then he proceeded to get out of the car. So he started to get out of the car. I ran around in front of the car and he started coming towards me.
Your Honor, I'm going to have to object. Again, the prosecutor is reading her statement. He's not asking any questions. If he has questions, I'm sure she'll answer, as long as it pertains to Mallory.
Look at that look of disgust and just done with it. I stopped loading my comments. Let me see if it'll load it again. Okay. Maybe I'm just put off. Rubber Ramada said, maybe I'm just put off by counsel asking questions, causing my mind to blank out, right? She never caught a break, says Abellis. Every single person in her life used, abused, and treated her like crap. Absolutely. The judge is in La La Land, bad girl. It's very sad, said Redak and Abellis. Indie Girl said, it's like they're not even hearing the words she's saying. Mine's made up. Right. And they just keep trying to pester her and piss her off. Like, none of this would be acceptable today. The prosecutor sounds angrier than Alieen. Right. Right. The judge has no control over his courtroom. Exactly.
Is that what you told Deputy Ortega?
If it's written there, I guess that's what it says. I can't take the typing and erase it and change it over. I'm changing it. I'm trying to tell you the truth today, what actually happened. This is incoherent mishmash jazz.
And then on page 53,
Again, Your Honor, same objection. He's reading the transcript.
well, let's go back to 21. You certainly are willing to admit he's behind the steering wheel when you shot him, aren't you?
I was lying down in the passenger seat, lying down across the whole darn front seat, actually.
He was behind the wheel.
He was up on his knee, one leg down, one knee up on the seat.
And you were lying down?
My legs were up, and he was having me spread my legs.
Well, if that was true, would the bullet have gone in and come out up high?
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you explain why the bullet with which you shot him inside didn't enter low and go upward and high if you were lying on a seat shooting up?
Objection, Your Honor.
I thought that whatever he was so decomposed you couldn't tell. How can you say that?
The pathologist said.
I couldn't tell you. All I know is.
Well, good point, Alieen. I mean, that is an accurate question to ask. Mary said, I agree. I never saw trial. Substance most definitely played a part. If I was her, I would give up by now, railroading and confusing the case. Right. Cara said, this case reminds me of the Menendez trial. All minds already made up, their defense constantly getting shot down with only little sustained. Right. Yep. And it's the same time period too. The judge can't see over the bench. Redak and Abella said, yeah, when minds are made up, it's over. And it is. I mean, none of this would be acceptable. It's definitely a mistrial by now.
I shot from the seat down, lying down.
You shot him immediately. Didn't give him a chance to say anything, did you?
Am I supposed to stop the clock and rationalize with this guy who wanted to kill me? Who said he was going to kill me?
You didn't give him a chance to say anything when you shot him the first time, did you?
No, I didn't.
What about the second time?
Nope.
What about the third time?
Nope.
What about the last time when you shot him on the ground?
I didn't shoot him on the ground. I shot him as he was coming out of the car. And I shot him. I told him to stop. Don't move no more. Don't come toward me anymore. And just stay there. He didn't listen. He was coming out of the car, and I shot him again because I didn't know what the dickens he was doing. I didn't know if he had another gun under the seat. I didn't know if he was going to reach for another weapon. I don't know what he had.
And he didn't have a weapon in that car, did he?
How do I know?
Did he have a weapon in the car?
No, he didn't. But how did I
And then
know?
after you shot him, you ran around in front of him?
Accurate point. You don't know. And in that moment, you're just trying to save your life after all the brutal, degrading, horrible things he did to her. Cara said, this is why Alieen said, just give me the death penalty, which if you think about it, is really sad. She was depressed that no matter what, she's going to lose. She felt her best option was the death penalty. Then she'll finally have peace. I agree. This is Florida, Indy. Abella said, I bet she wished she had that firearm right now. Yeah.
The car and came around to his side and shot him some more.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered several times.
And you said he kind of crawled out of the car and shut the door, right?
He didn't shut the door. I shut the door afterward.
And then you went, drove to Quail Hollow or Quail Run. Whereabouts did Quail Run did you go?
Just as soon as you get off the road, just right there, there's some place you can park.
Why'd you go there?
Because I was totally nude and I had to get my clothes on. And I also was shook up and I was crying vehemently and I had to get my head back together. And of course I can't ride.
Vehemently, a nice choice of words. Tells me again that she's intelligent.
Around nude, I can't drive nude
How'd you know where Quail Run was?
because I live out there.
You knew that neighborhood, did you?
I know all of Daytona. I've been here since 1974. And I lived in Benell.
And then you went and got some gas, right?
Very little.
You went back to the hotel and you told Ty you borrowed the car. Right?
I told Tyra when I got into the motel room and saw the furniture totally destroyed and everything else, I was going to just not even tell her the car was out there. You know, I was just going to take a shower and then go back out and hurry up and get rid of it. But when I said that, I said, oh man, we got to get out of here. The manager's going to call the cops or whatever. So I told her, I said, I just borrowed a car and the guy's in the motel waiting. I got to bring it back in 2 hours.
You went in Mr. Mallory's pockets and took his goods and his money, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I went and got his keys. His wallet wasn't even on his possession. It was underneath the seat of the car.
You turned his pockets inside out.
Just to get the keys out of his pocket.
And
I'm sure it just came.
I mean, I would have took the money too, considering everything he had just done. Florida 1992 said Red Act Ed. Thank you. Mary said court made her look batshit crazy at the end. By the end of time, they were done with her. Yeah. Annabella said, I'm amazed that she remembered so many details anyway. That's a traumatizing situation. Plus, she was exhausted and under the influence. Right. It's ridiculous. Like I said, you know, not acceptable today, and there's a reason for that.
Came with the keys. His pocket opened with. He had some pretty tight jeans on.
yeah, they were still zipped up, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Had his pants on.
Yes, but he was about to unzip them.
And that's what made you mad. He wouldn't take them off.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know of anybody that's going to shoot somebody just because they won't take their pants off when you're trying to have relations. That's just ridiculous, Mr. Prosecutor.
That's not what happened.
Then he went on to have the car washed to get rid of any evidence that might be on it, right?
Pardon?
You had his car washed to get rid of any evidence that might be on it.
I had the car washed to make sure my fingerprints weren't in that car because I was scared out of my mind about what I had just done, and that I had to, leave his vehicle somewhere.
And you pawned his radar detector and
I
his
was a
camera.
prostitute, and yes, I did that for food as I laid low. And what was it? Only $30.
And it's $30. What did you get away money from him?
It was for food. Food.
How much money did you get from him?
There was like $38 or $48, something like that. It was less than 50. Well, I remember a 20 and a 10 and some change, like 5-1 or some 5s and 1s.
I question if they're trying to make it look like she robbed him for money, but I mean, that's just ridiculous. I personally believe this part of her story, and we're going to watch after this something that the wonderful Zio sent me that might make me change my mind. We'll watch it after this. But yeah, it's a shit show of a trial, and it's unfair. We've got, I think, about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes left of this, a little bit less, and we'll go ahead and jump to where she talks about this case later after she's in prison, and then we'll jump back to her sentencing and stuff.
When you shot Mr. Mallory, you intended to kill him, didn't you?
Objection, Your Honor.
I had no choice.
You intended to kill him, didn't you?
I had no choice. I couldn't stop the clock and say, well, let's see where I can shoot him at so he'll stay alive. I had to immediately shoot. He was going to kill me. He was going to beat the living daylights out of me, choke me to death, whatever he was gonna do this week.
You've explained that several times. Just answer the question. You intended to kill him, didn't you?
I say no. And here's your answer, no.
You shot him in the chest?
I had no choice. Wherever I shot him and it killed him, I had no choice. I didn't have a chance to stop the clock and say, shoot him in the leg, shoot him in the foot, shoot him in the arm. And I'm not the greatest aimer. I did whatever I had to do at the quickest moment and without, just fast as possible. It was spontaneous reaction.
Shot him once in the side, right? Right?
Your Honor, I'm going to have to object, asked and answered several times.
Shot him in the neck, right?
I didn't know he got shot in the neck at all. I didn't hear that he got shot in the neck.
Well, did you see the shirt with a bullet hole in the collar?
Yeah, and that.
Objection, Your Honor.
What the crap? This is ridiculous. That girl said the state wants to claim robbery was the motive. Right. Red Axe, she was a nice looking woman and her family, her family screwed her. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
She's already testified she can't remember where he was shot.
Well, didn't you tell Deputy Horzep on page 25, and the question was, but when you decided to pull that gun, that person was going to die. I mean, you weren't just going to shoot him. Remember that question?
Yes.
You remember your answer? Oh, I was definitely going to shoot him and let him die. Isn't that what you said, page 58?
Yes, and I'm referring to a certain situation, and that's the thing. There's certain situations here where there's a number, and every incident was a different situation of the violence that was involved and the fear and everything else in a certain situation. So when I talk I'm getting questioned, those questions, I'm referring of certain situations to certain people and everything else to see if you can't, nothing can be leveled to one person.
You can tell it all if you want.
Objection, Your Honor.
What the?
It's in bad faith for him to continue to do this.
She keeps acting like we're stopping her. We're not stopping her. Yes, sir. Page 58, again, a little.
The prosecutor is getting heated, so it's kind of backfiring on him right now.
Ahead of where you said, I was definitely going to shoot him and let him die. These questions are asked by Deputy Horzep. He said,
Abella said, some people think it's easy to shoot like in the movies, like hitting a kneecap or something. It's not, especially under stress. Right. Red Act Ed said, in my opinion, if she hadn't met Ty, this would have never happened. I don't think so either. I question it. Thanks for filling in my words, host. Yeah, I don't think it would have either.
did you give an electric razor to the gentleman who owned the little restaurant where you stayed at? Your answer was, yes, I did. And the question was, whose razor did that belong to? He said, I think that was Mallory's. Question, Richard Mallory's razor? Uh-huh. Did you give that gentleman or his wife anything else gifts? Uh-huh. Items. I just wanted to get rid of the razor because I didn't.
Objection, Your Honor. Is this a question or is he going to read her transcript?
Were those questions and answers that you gave? Questions asked and answers which you gave?
Yes, and amazingly, that some of the short questions, some of the small.
You can explain later. Were those the questions asked and your answers? Yes, sir?
Yes, I'm answering.
And I'd ask.
She can explain. What are you talking about?
Thank you to look at Exhibit 122. And ask you, that doesn't appear to be Mr. Mallory's razor.
Oh, he,
Okay. No,
he is so mad he broke the case. Look at the razor from back then too. But he is so frustrated he broke the evidence. Sir, get a grip on it.
I am going to have to object to the prosecutor ripping open the evidence and throwing it down in front of my client. Thank you.
Is that his razor?
I don't know. I was not shown the razor when they asked me, so therefore I do not know if this is his razor or not. I don't know who it belongs to. But he did have one.
Good answer, Miss Warnos. Good answer. Mary said, I hate sarcastic, mean prosecutors. Yeah, it's not cool. He's feeling guilty. Your sins find you out, said Red Act. Yep.
Objection,
Property, isn't it?
objection.
Hard to keep up with that much property that you take, isn't it?
Objection.
What?
I ask that you instruct the jury to disregard.
It's a little hard to disregard something you've already put into their minds, though, and you know they're not going to disregard it, and that's part of your damn tactics, sir.
You've already asked me to explain the items. Your answer was, I just wanted to get rid of the razor because I didn't, what do I need it for? And I just, are nice to me and ship. So I decided to give them the razor for Christmas or something.
Your Honor, objection again. Is there a question?
I'm about there, Your Honor. That was referring to Mr. Mallory's razor, right?
Like I say, I don't know if that's his razor or not, and I don't need to lie. He had a razor, but I don't know where. I don't know what it looks like. I know that Tyra wanted me to keep a razor for her to shave her legs with, and that is the only reason I kept the darn thing in the first place. I didn't care about it. I just could have threw it with everything else
My
away.
question to you is this. You were talking about Mr. Mallory's razor at that time.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next question to you, after you're talking about Mr. Mallory's razor, you said, so you, after all these...
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll move past that question. The next question after that was that, but when you decided to pull that gun, that person was going to die. I mean, you were just going to shoot him. And your answer, I was just...
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes.
Again, he's just reading the freaking transcripts. They're going to approach the bench. He is a turd, isn't he, Abellis? If you had a hammer in your head, Abellis, you could. I think you're a pretty good shot, I bet. I'm actually a prepper since 1982. I'm trying. I got some things. I prep a little bit. Indie Girl said, oh my, I grew up with them. My father hunted occasionally, but always taught us respect for the weapon. Yep, that's very important to teach when you're talking about things like that.
Approach the bench, right.
And I haven't.
Hold on. Just a minute.
Skating for over 45.
This old Tony Hawk. It's only a 15-second commercial, so I try to stay here so I can catch it before it gets back, and we don't miss any of what she says.
So sit and rationalize out, to think it out and realize what I'm saying, because I'm under too much stress, hysteria, everything else. I don't answer any of this, Jess, correctly. So if I did something like that and it sounds kind of rough, I didn't mean it that way. I just was too under stress and tense. I didn't know how to explain myself.
You also explained to Deputy Gorzappa, did you not, that you had to kill because if you didn't kill him, he'd be identified and arrested?
Say that over again.
Yeah, you had to kill him because if you didn't kill him,
Objection, Your Honor. Is he referring to Mallory?
There's no way you could be referring to Mallory, because at this point in time, Mallory, you weren't a wanted person. Anybody after that, you might have had to because you would be recognized. But at this point, you weren't wanted when you committed that first homicide because you hadn't committed any other homicides. And she knows that, and the prosecution knows that, and so does her defense. That's why this prosecutor makes me sick.
What page? And what page?
Page 7, tape 1.
Page what? 1?
7, tape 1, page 7, tape 1.
Your Honor, I object. This is not related to Mallory.
Oh, but it is.
Oh, but it's not.
I'm going to move for a mistrial, Your Honor.
Again, she's moving for a mistrial again, and it's again overruled because they were out for blood. I am furious right now. This is not acceptable.
Page 7. Says, so I shot him, and then I thought to myself, well, hell, I might as well just keep shooting him, because I gotta kill the guy.
Objection, Your Honor, again, the same grounds. I move for a mistrial. This is not.
If you'll approach the bench, I'm going to
Didn't you tell Deputy Orzafa that taking Mr. Mallory's property was your final revenge on him?
I told him, if I say it like that and here like I'm wrong, but this is how I feel. I felt like what he did to me was unnecessary. And so therefore, when I took his property for food, I figured, well, it's like, I don't know, it was like.
Councilman, we have the page. And what is it?
No, she remembers it. She remembers.
Like he owed me for what he did.
Objection, Your Honor.
Exactly. He did owe her for what he did to her. Got 8 minutes left.
Honor.
I don't know. So when I,
Skip it forward a little bit.
Did you tell Deputy Orzafa maybe it was self-defense, maybe it was stupid?
Page, Counselor.
Yeah. Tape 2, page 29.
did I tell him what?
Maybe it was self-defense, maybe it was stupid.
Your Honor, I'm going to
Recall reading
at this
that.
point, ask to approach the bench.
want to speak.
Yes, sir.
May we approach the bench?
No, just go ahead.
I recall.
Same objection, Your Honor, not focused. And again, we would move for a mistrial. It's generic.
The objection is sustained.
Don't answer questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may we, sometime this afternoon have legal argument on something?
I mean, I don't think that that is any kind of incriminating statement. I mean, she said it was self-defense, and she could have felt stupid for what she did afterwards. I don't feel like that was incriminating. It's not right that land everything evil she said or done has done because she's evil, right? It's not right that land everything evil said or done she has done because she's evil. Yeah, I don't think she did it because she's evil like they tried to portray her. Indy said she's actually pretty calm and collected to how she is portrayed. I'm just saying. Yeah, she is. I agree. And again, I don't think, even if she said it was stupid, committing the act of self-defense, she could have saw as stupid later. That doesn't mean it wasn't self-defense, in my opinion.
Under objection. Did you tell Deputy Rosati you didn't know why you killed Richard Mallory?
I couldn't hear you.
Did you tell Deputy Rosati you didn't know why you killed Richard Mallory?
Page, please.
Sure.
What page?
Page 4.
On the first one or
Yes.
second?
First. But what I did, I don't understand why I did it.
Again, Your Honor, I would object. I would direct you not to answer the question, Lee.
Hey, Shaboogies, and thank you for being here, Huddy.
I'm not going to.
You advising the client not to answer, we will proceed to the next question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, this wasn't also,
Ask a question.
did you say that you knew you had to because you knew you left some witness out?
Objection, Your Honor.
Find out who you were, you get caught?
Objection, Your Honor. Same grounds. Lee had instructed.
Inspection of the transcript, counsel, you bring it forward.
Maybe we just ask the witness, Your Honor, if it involves Mallory?
No,
I mean, obviously it doesn't, because at this point she hadn't committed a homicide, so therefore she wouldn't be wanted for anything. Stop it.
Yes. Your questions are correct.
Isn't one of the reasons you killed Mr. Mallory because you didn't want him to tell on you after you shot him?
What?
You were the you already
When
shot
the
him.
question that you asked before, when I had to do what I had to do, if he would have been alive,
Oh no, don't do it.
he would have probably told the cops I tried to rob him and kill him, which is not true, because I am a prostitute. Nobody was going to believe that I'm a prostitute and that he raped me and that he tried to strangle me and kill me, and that he was going to probably do all kinds of other things to me throughout the whole day, the next morning, or whatever, how long he was going to keep me. I don't believe that anybody would have believed me, because we've got prostitutes out there that are being killed every day and nobody cares about it. And we've got
That's true. I mean, it's even happening today, but this time period it was a lot worse.
women being raped every day, and it doesn't seem they're prostitutes, that nobody cares about it. And I have witnessed it with my own eyes, reading the newspapers numerous times. So I believe that nobody would have believed me. So when I made that statement, I meant referring to the fact that nobody would have believed that I was raped and that I had to defend myself. They would have said, "You're a prostitute, we don't care."
Exactly.
You decided you had to go ahead and kill him.
I didn't, when he was dying, I'm talking about I'm talking about different situations. I'm telling you, I'm not talking about Richard Mallory there. No. I'm talking about
This trial.
totally different
Well, what had
situation.
you decided when you
And I'm
shot
not
him?
going to talk about it.
After you went around, what did you decide when you shot him the last time, square in the chest?
When he was coming out of the vehicle, that's where it was very obvious to shoot at.
She's saying she shot him in the chest because he was coming out of the vehicle at her, and so obviously she's going to shoot him in the chest. We got 1 minute left of this.
You say that here you are, a woman who is ravaged and naked, right? Right?
Yes, I was naked.
Cord marks around her neck where she's been strangled, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Bleeding from the anus where you've been raped, right?
yes,
Alcohol and Visine bottles where this torture took place, right?
there's alcohol, drinks on the hub.
The alcohol was squirted up your anus.
Oh, yes,
A cord with which you had been tied to the wheel and held by the neck.
yes.
And no one would believe that you'd been assaulted?
The marks on my neck were very small. They looked like hickeys.
Well, how about your anus? Said it was bleeding, you was ripped.
I mean, she's not going to go into the police station and strip and be like, look at my butthole, sir. What the hell?
It's the way I was too, what am I supposed to walk out there nude with a gun in my hand down the road?
Okay, I would have jumped to something else real quick and show you what she said later in life about this. They are patronizing her. He is repulsive. So I'm gonna jump over here to YouTube, and I'm gonna show you something she said later in life about Mr. Mallory in particular. Now, this is, you know, a time period where she's talking about aliens and things like that. So I don't know if this can be considered credible or not, but I do, to be fair, I want to show it because it involves that case that we just listened to the prosecution go on and on about and basically torture her. Hold on just a minute. See, now it's showing me I'm live on here. How long have we been live? Like 3 hours? 2 hours and 23 minutes. Now it's showing up. We want to do this. We want to go to playlist. I'm going to stop the music because we don't need it for this. I apologize. Hold on just a minute. All right, let me go to my Warnos case. Right here. Okay, so the title of this is Coming Clean.
I got a message.
It's from obviously from prison. The creator, actually, I probably do need to put music on behind this. Hold on, my computer's having a seizure. Okay. The person who put this out is titled Alieen Warnos, but it's not her. It's from that YouTube channel. And it's titled Alieen Warnos Coming Clean.
Message that Alieen wanted me to come meet her at the local jail. She had something to say.
Okay, I cannot go in the execution chamber and die in the execution chamber as a liar. And I cannot go in the execution chamber and be executed under the devil. I have to come clean and cleanse my spirit in the name of Jesus Christ.
Remember, her mental state is not that well at this point in life, right before she's about to be executed. She's stressed out, all of that, all of the things, the trauma, the emotion. YouTube is wonky. Nick Bloomfield documentary is where this is from, said Bad Girl. It's excellent. And Zio gave us a trigger warning, and Bad Girl said she looks mentally ill here. Yeah, she wasn't in a right state of mind, to be fair.
So I have to come clean and tell the world the lies that went on through my mouth. I mean, now prosecutors and cops.
And that you killed the 7 men.
Huh?
That you killed those men in cold blood.
Yeah, and I got to come clean that I killed those 7 men in first-degree murder and robbery. As they said, they had it right. A serial killer. Not so much like thrill kill. I was into the robbing biz.
This is interesting.
I mean, you know, serial killers are in this thrill killing jazz. I was into the robbing, and eliminate a witness. But still, then again, I got a number, so it's serial killer. But I'm coming clean before I go in that execution chamber and be executed. That I killed them.
And so when you met them from the beginning.
Zio said, leave a like and let me know if this video changes our mind about her court testimony. Please let me know if it changes your mind about what you just heard in the court.
Beginning, did you know that you were going to kill them when they picked you up in their cars?
I pretty much had them selected that they were going to die.
But when you're saying that there was no self-defense, so there was no self-defense.
No, there was no self-defense. I'm being really straight up about everything. There's no self-defense. I'm really sorry what happened about everything. I was in this to me, this world is nothing but evil, and all of us are full of evil one way or another. And when
I mean, it's hard for me to believe this, considering her state of mind. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I've always thought and still think that Mallory was a case of self-defense. She does seem coherent and level-headed, to be fair. Bad Girl asked, is she robbing to support Ty? Possibly.
And whatever we do, we have evil in us, all of us do. And my evil would just happen to come out because of the circumstances of what I was doing. Hitchhiking, hooking, on the road. I was a homeless person all my life. And then the hitchhiking, hooking, I learned off the homelessness and cruising all over the United States of America and stuff.
Abella said, it doesn't change my mind. I think she may have changed her story just to end it clearly, maybe. Shabugi said, oh, y'all think she committed homicide in defense? Interesting. I think that the first one was self-defense, not all of them. Hey, Trixie, welcome back.
And so learning how to be a hooker as a hitchhiker eventually got tiring. In the end, I carried the gun for protection, but then I got where I was getting a real problem, and our rent was due $1,200 behind. Tyra was doing a lot of beer drinking and stuff. She wanted to go out all the time, so she was burning up the money I was making. I was making good, about $200-300 a day, sometimes
Did she know what you were doing?
Red Axe said, in my opinion, she's getting prepared to meet God. That's why she's asking for redemption.
Oh yeah, Ty always knew everything I was doing.
So you were very close?
Yeah, we're.
All right.
And I still miss her, and I still love her, but I'm really sorry about everything I done. I miss Ty. I lost Tyra over this, and then the people that lost their loved ones and everything. I really think first about the people that lost their loved ones, and then Ty second, because I have to put them in first on this whole thing. I'm really sorry for them losing their loved ones, man. I know the feeling.
And what about with Richard Mallory? Because you gave that testimony with Richard Mallory.
Yeah, Richard.
This is going to be the part we're waiting for.
Richard Mallory was not self-defense. Richard Mallory, I killed him I needed his wheels to move the stuff, and he had the right amount of money I needed to move into the apartment, so.
But what about the testimony that?
I find that hard to believe, but she's coherent and clear-headed, it seems.
You gave in court about?
That's just, like I was saying,
About the Visine and...
Oh, I was just doing a lying biz. It was just my lying gig, try to beat the system.
Really? So that was really all, none of it was true? Because in court you gave such a graphic description of what had happened with Richard Mallory.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to believe that she would give such a graphic description for it to not be true. Bad Girl said, Lee loved Ty, and I don't know why. I don't either. I think she did this for the families, not because it's true. That's a good point, Abellis. Trixie said, I think she unalived the first one in defense, and the rest because she realized she could get their cash and items without giving her body. That's what I think. Shaboogies believes her. Okay. And says she suffered tremendous trauma. Abellis agrees with Trixie. I do too.
Yeah, after sitting around thinking how
I agree with Trixie.
I could drum up a story, you know.
So it was pretty convincing.
Was it? That's sad.
Well, I thought so.
Ah, that's sad. Well,
And it's not that you just decided that you wanted to die and you wanted to get it over and done with, that you changed your story.
no. The reason is it's serious. There's no way, and nobody should go in that execution chamber dying on a hope for a lie, and even by the second make it out of this thing on a lie.
But I heard, you know...
Shaboogies, no, you're good. If that's what you think, that's what you think. That's why I want you to share your opinion openly and in here, because I like to hear why you think the way you do.
That you just couldn't stand being on death row after 12 years.
Nick, and this is the last time I'm going to say it. You have to kill Alieen Warren because she'll kill again.
I'm gonna look and see how long the sentencing is real quick and see if we can cover that today. Let me pull that back up. And then tomorrow we will go over basically life after trial and see more videos like the one we just saw. Okay, hold on. I started over with this. Oh, goodness. Penalty phase, verdict, and sentencing. Let's see how long it is. It's 34 minutes, so we can watch this real quick. So again, this is Court TV. Let me make sure y'all can see it, and then I'll start it back up. This is the penalty phase, the verdict, and the sentencing. I think she does, Corey. I think she does. It's also been mentioned borderline personality disorder. Zaya actually told... Zaya mentioned everything. Borderline personality disorder and something else as well. I want to make sure y'all can see the whole thing.
Yeah, we need
Trixie said, Shaboogies, yes, she did. I truly think if she had someone who took care and we took them under their wing, and helped her to get her GED and a job, she may have been different. I think so too. Sorry, hold on.
In the Circuit Court, 7th Judicial Circuit, in the Board of Volusia County Court, case number 91-257, State of Florida versus Alieen Carol Morris, also known as Susan Lynn Blahovic, also known as Lori Christine Grady, also known as Candy Marsh Green. As to count,
she looks so scared.
The majority of the jury, by a vote of 12-0, advise and recommend to the court that it impose the death penalty upon Alieen Carol Warnes, also known as Susan Lynn Blahovic, also known as Lori Christine Grady, also known as Candy Marsh Green, dated at DeLand, Volusia County, Florida, this 30th day of January, 1992.
I thought she asked for the death penalty. So maybe she didn't. Associative identity disorder. Thank you, Rubber. I thought that she had asked for the death penalty, but they're saying they imposed it. And she's shaking her head no, like she didn't ask for it.
Pamela J. Mills, 4-person.
Ladies and gentlemen, jury, we're going to ask each of you individually concerning the advisory sentence. It is not necessary that you state how you personally voted or how any other person voted, but only if the advisory sentence is read was correctly stated. Madam Clerk, will you please vote?
Do you, Mrs. Staton, agree and confirm that the majority of the jury join in the advisory sentence that you have just heard read by the clerk? Do you, Mrs. Farrell, agree and confirm that a majority of the jury join in the advisory sentence that you have just heard read by the clerk? Do you, Mrs. Mills, agree and confirm that a majority of the jury join in?
I'm going forward a little bit to try to skip where they ask every jury member. She's crying.
Nothing but the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Judge, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to express to you, thank you very much for your time and consideration for this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges that are enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be
Okay, I'm not going to play that part. We'll skip ahead a little bit.
affair so long as they wish. Therefore, the law gives you the unique privilege not to speak.
Who is that, I wonder? I know that's not her mama. Lee dropped the appeals on the death penalty. Okay. Ty kept her hands clean. Bad Girl said Lee dropped the appeals on the death penalty. And then Bad Girl said, or Red Act Red said, Ty kept her hands clean. She's the monster. Rubber Ramada said associative identity disorder. Yeah, the 1992 hairstyles are crazy. They did name the jurors. I didn't even notice that, Abellis. They absolutely did.
Speaking about the jury work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you're also at liberty to refuse to speak with them. A request may come from those who are simply curious or may seek to find fault with you. It will be up to you to decide whether you deserve your privacy as a juror. With those instructions, the jury is in recess and discharge from further obligation and responsibility herein. Noticing is scheduled for 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you left for the jury out.
Judge, before you leave, we would renew all previous applications and motions and extensions. Thank you, Judge.
The order that we're here about that.
So they're renewing all previous applications and the like. I'm assuming this is another day.
Docket number 91257, the state of Florida versus Alieen Carol Warnes, also known as Susan Lynn Blahovic, also known as Laurie Christine Brody, also known as Kemi Marsh Green. The court is prepared for sentencing. Does the state have any witnesses like to present at this time?
Your Honor, we have no witnesses. May I make a brief statement?
Yes, sir.
Sentencing phase. Well, the wives, Abella said the wives of the victims, maybe. I think the wives of the victims would be happy. Have the jurors ever spoken out about Lee's death penalty verdict? I don't know, but I'll work on finding out. Red Act Red said Abella's... Oh, you're good. Talking about the 1992 hairstyles.
Your Honor, I'm not going to insult the intelligence or the wisdom or the perception of this court by going into any type of a detailed recounting of the facts and circumstances which brings Alieen Warnes before this court at this time in this county. I would like to discuss just for a moment or two a couple of aspects of the law and why, in fact, the state is urging the ultimate penalty permissible under Florida's law for Ms. Warnes. First, I say to you sincerely that this is probably, for every prosecutor, the most difficult assignment that our office faces, and that is to study and...
Let me, I don't hear my music. Why don't... Hold on. I'm assuming y'all hear the music in the background.
And considered decision to first ask the citizens and then ask the jurist to permit the law which requires a forfeiture of a human life to be activated against another citizen.
Okay, I hear it now. Zayo said, I doubt anyone was happy. I mean, not any true winners, right? Right, exactly. That girl said, I'm just curious if they stated they didn't believe Richard Mallory homicide was self-defense. I'm curious as well. I'm going to work on finding that over the next couple of days. Or next day. I'm going to work on finding it tonight so that we can talk about it tomorrow before I have to go on Wednesday. Thank you. Zayo says some jurors in Alieen Warno's case have spoken out in interviews and documentaries over the years. Okay. And then, thank you, Abellis. And then she said a few jurors have discussed the moral and ethical dilemmas they face during deliberations, particularly in a case with such high public scrutiny. Right. Thank you.
It is not only a great and considerable legal weight, but I can tell you from a personal standpoint, and I speak for my staff, it is a great emotional drain upon all of us involved in a case like this. Nonetheless, the people of the state of Florida, through their elected representatives and through well-documented and voiced opinion polls over the years, as the people of this nation, believe that there is a place in our society, a necessary place in our criminal jurisprudence for the death penalty.
At this point, I think this man just likes to hear himself talk.
Rare are the cases of murder on the grand scheme of the number of murders committed nationwide in which the death penalty can be fully and unequivocally justified. This is one of those cases. The aggravating circumstances, I'll not recount them. They were argued and the court instructed upon them, have been proven, Your Honor, beyond and to the exclusion of any reasonable doubt. The unanimous verdict of this trial jury, and I can say this, that they took the time to deliberate and return a unanimous verdict, which I think is a clear indication of the completeness of the evidence and the propriety of the sentence of death. I would ask you to not only sentence Alieen Warnos.
I mean, isn't it interesting? I don't think that those things, again, would be said in today's society. I don't at all. Hey, Rachel. Thank you for being here. Rachel said, hello, I'm sad I never get a notification for your streams. I'm sorry. It must be YouTube, and that kind of sucks. Make sure your notification bells are on. Thank you, Rachel, for being here.
To be electrocuted. I would ask that with regard to the additional sentences that the maximum penalty be imposed. We know that under the law, the 3-year minimum mandatory.
So the death penalty is not good enough. He wants her electrocuted. Stop it, sir.
mandatory as a part of the robbery sentence is called for by statute. No exception for that, even in a murder case where a weapon's used, and I refer specifically to Chapter 775. Under the case law, I cite Williams v. State, and I have a copy we've provided already to the defense counsel, Your Honor. The imposition of the minimum mandatory is appropriate, and that is at 517 Southern 2nd, 681, Florida Supreme Court, 1988. Also,
even if the weapon was a part of the statute?
We believe that is correct, Your Honor, under the Williams decision. May I hand you that case? Defense counsel has already been provided these cases. In addition, we're asking you to depart from what the sentencing guidelines, which I believe has been one of the greatest impediments in the state of Florida to the fair and appropriate administration of criminal justice, and has directly resulted in the diminution of the respect for the bench and for the law in this state. Nonetheless, we are still bound by them, and we, and certainly like yourself, Your Honor, will abide by sentencing guidelines so long as they remain a part of our law. But a departure is appropriate.
Okay, I'm going to skip it ahead a little bit because this man just likes to hear himself talk, in my opinion.
In effect, sanction a departure for a sentence exceeding the guidelines up to the maximum statutory allowable.
Sir.
With regard to Dr. Elizabeth McMahon, Dr. Jethro Toomer, for their refusals to comply with subpoena. Not meant as a vindictive measure, Your Honor, but only to hopefully bring an orderly procedure to cases in the future where we deal with that particular profession, and more specifically, those particular professions. The housekeeping matters behind, I would only say in closing.
Thank you.
This is the only time that I've stood before this particular jurist and asked you to enforce, uphold, and pronounce a sentence to take another person's life. I don't do it lightly. I can tell you I do it with a heavy heart. Alieen Wuornos has come into this courtroom.
I question that after the almost 15-minute speech that you've given about it and how she deserves the electric chair. He sure does red act red, and that's crazy. She is full of defeat on her face, and it is sickening.
With an utter disregard, continuing for the truth, with an utter disregard for the destruction she has wrought upon her victims, and with a continuing utter disregard for even the reputation of her very family, her deceased mother and father. Her acts.
So it wasn't her mother that was crying in the courtroom.
Of murder and of total, absolute, unwavering determination to avoid and deny responsibility continue even to this date. I ask you to sentence her to die in Florida's electric chair.
Mr. Tanner, do you have a guidelines worksheet for me?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Has copy been made available to council?
That's what I was asking. Has the council copy been made? May we step out and make a
Yes,
copy?
sir.
I apologize.
Well, let them view that one, then we can file it with each other.
That copy is-
Ms. Warnos, when I have completed my task here today, you will begin the first day of the rest of your life. The curtain will fall on the tragic drama of the trial of Alieen Warnos. Tomorrow's sunrise will bring the beginning of the appellate procedures as provided by law, and I will return to pasture. You have been convicted by a jury of your peers the offense of first-degree premeditated and first-degree felony murder and armed robbery of a firearm with.
You will return to pasture? You mean you won't be on TV? I mean, goodness gracious. You do it eagerly, sir. I don't like you. He did do it eagerly, didn't he? I think her defense team is there, but somebody was crying. So Red Act Red, I think she did have some on her side. He's a creep. I know he's doing his job, but he delights in that, and that's crass. It is. It is. He absolutely was.
And Richard Mallory, do you or your attorneys who stand to your side have any legal cause to show why the sentence of law should not now be imposed upon you? Do you have any matters in bar conclusion sentence? Do you have any matters in mitigation sentence that you would give the court at this time?
We have certain matters we'd like to bring up, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
First, we would ask that Your Honor hear from Ms. Alieen Prelude.
Certainly. So the court reporter can hear you. Will you speak loudly enough and also give her your name?
Yes, my name's Alieen, P-R-A-L-L-E.
So she did have people to speak on her behalf, and we're going to hear them now.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I was going to say Ms. Prelude has certain matters that she would like to relate to the court. This is your opportunity to speak.
Certainly.
Your Honor, my husband and I adopted Alieen Warnos on November the 6th. We heard in this courtroom 3 expert witnesses in the field of psychology who said that Alieen Warnos, though 35 years physically, was emotionally and psychologically a child. Dr. McMahon referred to her as the most primitive one she had ever seen other than within an institution. My husband and I have spent as much time, if not more, than all of our experts combined. We are 100% behind their diagnosis, and I would plead for mercy for my daughter's life because she never was given the chance to grow up. She is still a child, as they have said, and there are 2.
This is interesting. She was actually adopted by somebody as an adult. That's interesting. I mean, this woman is I'm not trying to be, I question her motive and if she got involved because of the publicity of the case, kind of like Wade Wilson's wives, the person y'all were referencing just a second ago. Jenny said, before this live ends, I want to say take care of yourself, eat your favorite snack, listen to your favorite song. I love you all, and I hope each one of you as well. I hope you're well, Jenny. I'm going to talk to you later tonight or tomorrow through email, and I hope you're doing okay. Rubber said, there are evil people. Then there are hurt people, too. In my opinion, I don't think Lee was evil. I think she needed help. I absolutely do. They did adopt her. For someone who talks a lot, said Bad Girl. He says nothing at all. Word salad. Yep.
Factors I think that are very important. Her school records indicated, as well as the experts, that Alieen Warnos from a very young age wanted the structure of a very tight family. She longed to have that, a nurturing environment. And the school records also indicated that she was in need immediately of counseling, immediate. Those were never granted. Both of those factors are now present this day in 1992. She has a family that cares about her, that loves her unconditionally. And we are also, Your Honor, if you would give mercy, in this case, we are willing to pay for the professional counseling that Alieen Warnos should have received as a child. And
That's really sweet, but the judge and the prosecution ain't gonna have it. I'll take detention. Really? She does seem like a lovely lady. She really does. But unfortunately, I know they're not. I mean, look at how they crucified her.
Just plead for your mercy for my daughter's life.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You may return to your seat.
Judge, as to the show, a couple of technical matters, as to the show cause issue that Mr. Tanner mentioned, we would like an opportunity to be heard on that. I take it today is not the appropriate time.
I think not.
Yes, Judge. As to the proceedings as a whole, we renew our previous motions, objections, and applications. We do have certain brief comments, and I think Ms. Buenos has certain brief comments as well. You want to go first?
Yes. Okay. First of all, I'd like to say that I have been labeled a serial killer, and I am no serial killer. I've been framed by the law enforcement as a serial killer because of numerous men involved. But what I was a
I mean, there was a lot of misogyny going on in there, to be fair.
prostitute. And in my prostitution, I happened to deal with a lot of men, at least 200, 250 men a month. And I ran into these men along the way in my prostitution. I do not feel, I was not out there to hurt anyone. Had no intentions of hurting anyone. In my confessions, I stated that 9 times. I stated 37 times self-defense, 39 times that they raped or beat to, and then begin to rape and had intentions of killing. And
So she's looked over her confession and got the number of times she said certain things to try to help herself. Hey, Florida W. This is Alieen Warnos. We were talking about her. Thank you for sharing that, Zayo. I know, it is so sad.
what I did was what anybody else would do. I defended myself, which everybody has the right to defend themselves. And I had no intentions of killing anyone. I would not do that. I'm not that type of person. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that while I've been through this 2.5 weeks in the courtroom, I told you that I was raped, and that is what happened. And that is what happened with all other cases that I'll be involved in and discussing. And these people did a violent attack on me, and I did what I had to do to protect myself.
I think that the first one did, but not the men after. But again, let me know if this changes your stance, because we just saw where she was behind bars and admitted to something completely different. I'm so sorry, Flora, that you've been sick. I hope you get better, honey. Let me do that real quick.
Now, I'd like to point out one other thing, is that the law enforcement has framed me as serial killer purposely for books and movies.
That can be proven.
And I have been, since I've been incarcerated a year in jail, have gone through a lot of physical and mental abuse, which I felt is being a conspiracy through the law enforcement. And I also believe the law enforcement and the state attorneys have a conspiracy here. And I have to say another thing, for as far as manipulation was talked about yesterday in the courtroom, I believe State Attorney Tanner was the one manipulating the jury, which he had made a whole lot of things up. Things are just made up at the top of his head, were not true, and I felt that he lied right through his teeth. I was up in that stand there, and I did not lie. I was coerced into making my confessions. I was threatened that Tyra Moore would be arrested if I did not talk about the confessions. I was also coerced and threatened and told that if I did not answer their questions the way they wanted me to, their questions, and I did it any other way, that she would be arrested. And the questions that they asked me were strictly to implicate me as a serial killer, when every time I talked about a rape, they cut me off.
They did. I mean, and back in these days, like they didn't even turn the recorder on until she had been in there for over 2 hours, from what I've heard. She did mess up when she committed homicide with the cop. And not all of them were self-defense. I think the first one was, and they shouldn't have. I mean, she should have. They did wrong by questioning her while she was under the influence of substances and while she is under distress and not even turning the recorder on till 2 hours into the interview. We know what they did back then, and it wasn't very pretty to get their confessions. Flora said she was committing homicide. Her dad, she was killing her dad over and over, and whoever she abused in her younger years. I think so. Linda Hendricks, thank you for being here, says what's wild though is the amount of male serial killers who are target women prostitutes, but didn't at all receive the same type of grief from officers like she did. You know, that is a wonderful point, and that goes to the base of all this. Which my question was, you know, do you think it would be the same for a male who committed the same crimes with the same childhood? And I appreciate you telling us that. We're lucky to have you, Jen. You're so awesome.
And they had my mind all messed up where I was hysterical, I was in trauma, and I was alcohol withdrawing. I have been totally under duress and delirium, and I couldn't tell you what happened anyway. I couldn't remember anything under that stress. All I had in my mind was focused on Tyra, which I was trying to clear Tyra, which Tyra knows it's self-defense, and she's lying through her teeth, telling that she doesn't know anything, even the smallest of things of our life together, 4.5 years, and she does know. She knows it's self-defense, and she's been offered like $500,000 and might be a multimillionaire after this is over. And she's just keeping her mouth shut because she wants money. They have to have a conviction in order to get this money.
And that's absolutely accurate. We know the police approached Tyra with a book deal and movie deal, and that's why she confessed or testified against Alieen.
And that's all I got to say. I'm not a serial killer.
Your Honor, we have some observations. I guess I should go first. Or maybe I could make some observations for the three of us. Mr. Tanner provided to Your Honor some personal views as to his understanding of his position here and the difficulty that he has. And I think that's legitimate. I really do think Mr. Tanner finds this role very difficult. Hasn't been easy for us either. It has been a difficult task when you're litigating over the life of a fellow human being. What I would suggest to Your Honor, and we will not go through aggravators and mitigators and rehash the evidence. Your Honor has heard it, and like Mr.
I need to speak again.
She needs to speak again, she says. Wonder what she's gonna say. Gary Ridgway, prime example, said Abellis.
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Okay.
You want to wait till we get through, or you want to talk now?
No, I just wanted to make sure he wouldn't cut me off.
Go ahead now.
Okay. What I'd like to also say is that we had 2 clients that were willing to testify for me, that we did not bring the mitigator factors in, and I was surprised that my lawyers had me just testify on the stand and then said, the defense rests this case, because I did not know this was going to happen. We had a police officer that was going to verify that they misused evidence and that they falsified reports. None of the evidence, all the evidence on the floor, there was half of the stuff was mine. And there was a radio on the floor that one of the victims' family said, yeah, that's mine, and it isn't. It was our radio, and Tyra knows that. And I'm sure I could get a witness to verify that radio I had before Richard Mallory was ever killed. And I kept all the weapons in storage. None of the weapons were on the floor for proof, if I ever got busted, that I could prove that these guys use these.
It doesn't seem to me like she's asking for the death penalty. It seems like she's trying to fight it here by pointing out all the inaccuracies in the evidence and in the trial. What's Ty doing today said Rubber Ramada, I know you mentioned it, but my mind's not working. She's married. Yeah, she's married. And in Pennsylvania, I think. Red Act Ed says she's very articulate, and she is.
These weapons on me. None of the weapons were on for evidence. And we had 2 clients. We had a police officer. There was also, I had high school friends, at least 15 that I wanted contacted. They were not contacted. This case did not, for me to testify for myself, it seemed like I got a total raw deal. I should have had, my clients should have went up. That officer should have went up. I should have had my high school friends testifying for me. I couldn't believe I just got in that stand for myself. And I was telling the complete truth. I was being as honest as I could be.
I believe that. I really do.
Thank you, Mr. Nolis.
With this case, not the other ones.
May proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. What I was going to say is just to give to Your Honor some personal observations.
Certainly.
Flora W said, how many females ever really got executed in the U.S.? That's a good question. I know there's more males than females. I mean, there's Darlie Reuter, and she's still sitting in prison in Texas. Yeah, it's not many. I'm sure it could probably be counted on one hand. Yeah, she's married and living her best life. Darlene Reuter's case absolutely floors me, especially as a Texan. Lisa Montgomery said Sarah. I'll look into that case at some point, Lindsay. Thank you for sharing.
Your Honor has a very difficult job here. You've been on the bench quite a long time, and you've seen, I dare say, quite a lot more than the 3 of us combined. It is a task that we do not envy, and that hopefully none of us will ever be in the position to make. I know I never want to be in a position to make the type of decision Your Honor needs to make here.
He's trying to kind of kiss ass to help his client. I get it.
We, as a people, can decide to impose the death sentence on Ms. Warnes. And we can decide to have her executed. Those procedures, as Your Honor know, are about as cold and calculated and premeditated, using those terms, as any procedures can get. It's done with a great deal of formality, with a great deal of calculation. What I would suggest to Your Honor is that such a sentence would meet none of the goals that we consider to be penologically appropriate. No one would be deterred by a death sentence on Ms. Warnes. Surely rehabilitation is not an issue. And the only question is really retribution. And the question is it worth the thousands and millions of dollars that it's going to take to have Lee Warnes executed? Is it worth us as a society? Is it something?
That's a good question and a good point to make. I'm sure the victims' families are wanting retribution, and it's a hard decision to make regardless. Bad Girl said Lee did fight the death penalty but gave up in the appeals to die. Okay, I was going to question, like, did I don't know if she ever got tried for the other cases, but at that point, was she just like, give me the death penalty because she already had it in this case? Taz no longer, it's possible to consider in the time period. Oh, okay, Abellis got it for us. Quick Search says 397 women executed in the U.S. since 1632 and 50 on death row as of 2023. That's interesting.
Something we should do. We can do that. If we were to do that, we would be doing something, and I would submit to Your Honor that we will be accomplishing nothing. And with that, Your Honor, I guess
Ms. Jenkins, Mr. Miller.
I have nothing to say.
All right, the defendant Alieen Carol Warnes being before the court, attended by attorney Tricia Jenkins, William Miller, and Billy Notice, Knowles, her attorney of record, having been tried and found guilty of crime count 1, a first-degree premeditated murder, and first-degree felony murder of Richard Mallory, a capital felony, and count 2, armed robbery of a firearm, armed robbery of Richard Mallory with the firearm, and no cause being shown why the defendant should not be adjudicated guilty. You're hereby.
He's trying to state that she committed armed robbery on him and shot him in that act instead of the whole being assaulted thing, which I don't know how you got that, but okay.
Judged guilty of said offenses. You will be, as required by law, compelled to pay $20 to Crimes Compensation Trust Fund and $5 in accordance with Florida Statute 943.25, subparagraph 4. I've reviewed your affidavit of indigency, find that you're unable to pay costs, and accordingly all costs are hereby waived. As to count 2, the sentence is imposed in accordance with the guidelines mandated upon this court by the state of Florida. The defendant being before the court attended by her attorneys Tricia Jenkins, William Miller, and Billy Knowles, having been adjudicated guilty herein, the court having given you an opportunity to be heard, offer matters of mitigation of sentence, no cause being shown. The sentence of the law and the judgment of this court that you, Alieen Carol Warnes, be imprisoned by confinement and committed to custody of the Department of Corrections for a term of 10 years from this date, with credit for times heretofore served in the Volusia County Jail. And you will be compelled to serve a 3-year mandatory minimum as provided by Florida Statute 775.
So this gives me hope for a second.
5.0872. That's in count 2. As to count 1, you will be required to make restitution as entered by a separate order that I am signing at this time. As to count 1, the defendant Carol Warnes being now before the court, attended by her attorneys Tricia Jenkins, William Miller, and Billy Knowles, and having been adjudicated guilty of the crime of first-degree premeditated murder and first-degree felony murder, a capital felony, and the court having given the defendant an opportunity to be heard and to offer matters to mitigate.
We know he's going to sentence her to the death penalty, but it's kind of messed up, and it just jabs the knife in a little bit deeper that he read it backwards, as in she got 10 years for the armed robbery. It's ridiculous, because he's going to build her up and then crush her.
Sentence and to show cause why the sentence of law should not now be imposed upon you, and no cause being shown. Filing with the clerk my written findings in this matter. Copies will be made available to the council when they're available. It is a sentence of law and the judge of this court that you, Alieen Carol Warnes, be delivered by the sheriff of Volusia County, Florida, with a copy of this sentence forthwith to the proper officers of the Department of Corrections of the state of Florida, and by him safely kept until by warrant of the governor of the state of Florida, you, Alieen Carol Warnes, be electrocuted until you are dead. And may God have mercy upon your court. The judge.
That's bullshit. He built her up by thinking she was only going to serve about 10 years and then delivered the death penalty. That's so wrong, in my opinion. Flora W said, I feel like there's a lot of child redeems gets away with it more. I mean, Alieen and her victims were adults, so I have no sympathy for those men. They picked her up. You know what? I mean, I can see that. I have sympathy for some of them, but I can understand why you feel that way. Red Act agreed. Flora W said, it's like if you pick up a rattlesnake, you could get bit. They wanted her services. Right. And I mean, by her getting in those vehicles, it's the same thing. You get in a vehicle where the rattlesnake, you could get bit. But I think some of them didn't deserve what they got, in my opinion. That girl said, nope, you can't tell me that Lee just gave up on life. I think she did. If they hadn't been, said Flora, the men were going to get hurt eventually. Yeah. And I understand that. And I can, I get what you're saying 100%. Dawn said, sorry, Basil jumped on me. Dawn said she gets like 5 letters a day from Lee. She just needed love. Aw. That's really sad, though. I'll play the end of this real quick.
Judgments and sentences will be entered in open court this 31st day of January, 1992, and my signature attached. The court does not advise you that you have the right to appeal the judgment and sentence imposed upon you, and upon showing to the court of your desire to appeal the judgment and sentence, and should you be an indigent person, counsel will be appointed to represent you for the appeal purposes. Will you please step over to the bailiff for fingerprinting, ma'am?
She's so defeated. I'm gonna come over here with y'all while we do that. Flora said she did get tired of prison life. They were doing stuff to her food. Oh wow. Red Act Ed said I wouldn't have thought just to be locked up in a cage, for the rest of my life, right? No, he said, and that was another thing. She's so defeated. He said mercy upon your court, which is bullshit. They usually say mercy upon your soul, and he said mercy upon your court. I thought it could have been corpse. I cannot get over the BPD diagnosis. I feel her pain. I wish I could have talked to her. Yeah. I know he didn't say soul either. Yeah, I don't know if he said court or corpse. I thought it was court, and it should have been soul. Winter Basil. Basil's over here behind me. He's warm. He stays warm. I put him under the blankets with me. There's a video on Discord of him under the blankets. Yeah, I would be, I would be dead. Just be locked up. Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Thank you, Judge. Take care of yourself.
She said thank you. Oh, hold on. Dang. Hold on. Well, we'll see more of that tomorrow. It just said on October 9th, I didn't catch the date, Alieen was given lethal injection, so I do know she wasn't executed. I couldn't do it being enclosed in small spaces either, at all. It's so sad that someone who was used and abused and traumatized and, regardless of what happened, finally snapped, was done this way. I don't think it was fair at all. I don't think it would have been the same if it had happened in current times either. We should look at Ted Bundy's trial in Florida. Florida is not a state you want to commit a crime in like that. Rubber said he said corpse, which makes it even worse. Lee's life was awful, and she was so tired and gave up. And I think that's what happened, and it makes this case really sad. How you doing, Letitia Stout? That's a good question. Yeah, it's not fun. For sure. She got put out of her house as a kid and had to learn how to survive. And she did. And she was so tormented and traumatized. And it's just so sad. We're going to look at, her life in prison afterwards, after all of that tomorrow. And that'll be the end of our deep dive on Alieen Wuornos. I do want to do deep dives on other known serial unalivers. Zaya said she's going to do a part 4 premiere on Sarah Boone jail behavior after the live for anyone interested, just so that y'all know. There are things worse than death. There absolutely are, but Israel Keys, I need to do Israel Keys for sure, Shaboogies. Have y'all listened to Letitia's call? She's enjoying life behind bars, phone calls every day. I don't doubt that. Hey, Mandy, thank you so much for being here. Mandy said, I feel there was so much more to this than her being the cold-blooded killer she was portrayed as. I do too, and it kind of sucks that all of that wasn't taken into account. I'm going to pull everything else I can on her life after trial and everything, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. The judge was a Sleepy Joe in La La Land. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go for today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I won't be here Wednesday, but I'm doing everything I can to make sure that there is a video of reading the Steppensters homicide report, and I'll set it to premiere at this time on Wednesday. However, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have the best day ever. Make sure you go check out Zio, drop in some more Sarah Boone jail files, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Have the best. Oh, goodness. Excuse me, I yawn. Have the best day ever. And I hope y'all have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.